Like all professional sports, the American Le Mans Series began with high hopes for all. 5 months and 3 races later, the championships are wide open.
What a moment for Marco Werner. This checkered flag will make his career, as well as that of Philip Peter, as they join Frank Biela as a Sebring winner for Reinhold Jost.
Here he comes to the checkered flag. Johnny Herbert has won the Chevy Grand Prix of Road Atlanta. The crew celebrating on the pit wall. A huge day for Dave Farage and champions ADT Audi team.
History about to be made in the American Le Mans Series. First time ever that a 675 prototype is going to score an overall victory. And there is the checkered flag for James Weaver and the Dyson Racing team.
3 races, 3 winners and many surprises. The series moves to Quebec, Canada, a place that could provide more unexpected results. Next on Speed. After being in California just 7 days ago, the series moves northeast to Quebec, Canada. It was a somewhat slow start to the year, but now the season is in full swing. This is Le Grand Prix, the Trois-Rivieres. Hello everyone, I'm Lee Diffie here at Trois-Rivieres on the banks of the beautiful St. Lawrence River, and welcome to round 4 of the American Le Mans Series. Well, what a week it has been for the world's biggest sports car series. Last weekend at Infineon Raceway, we witnessed that historic win for Rob Dyson's team, and I'll have more on that in just a moment. But as Dyson's celebrations were just cranking up, the real work was beginning for everybody else. Not only did they have to pack up from Infineon, they had to travel in just a matter of days, 3,000 miles from California to Quebec. It was quite a task to get here and prepare for this race meeting. There's a lot of history on this circuit on the streets of Trois-Rivieres, especially for Toyota Atlantic and Trans Am cars. It's only the second year here for the American Le Mans Series. There's going to be some more history today. A new winner. Tom Christensen and Dindo Capello are not here. The winner more than likely will come from the front row, and that's where our Calvin Fish is right now.
Well, Team Jost have certainly dominated sports car competition over the last 4 years, Lee, and very rarely do they lose. And it's extremely rarely when they lose 2 in a row, which has happened recently in the ALMS competition. But they bounced back strongly here yesterday with an outstanding qualifying performance by Marco Werner. And I'm standing by here as the celebration begins for the race today. Marco, great lap yesterday. You were touching the wall everywhere, it seemed, to get that fast lap. How much do you need to throttle back today to survive 3 hours?
I was not really touching the wall, but it was very, very close, but I have a very good car from Infineon Team Jost. Congratulations to the team. It was a great car yesterday. It was great laps, a couple of laps. Every lap was better and better. I'm learning in every lap. It's my first time here and I'm very, very happy.
Okay, well, great performance yesterday. We'll get back to the front of the grid here. Starting alongside the Jost car on the front row of the grid will be the champion Audi. Now, neither of these drivers, despite their illustrious careers, JJ Leto and Johnny Herbert, have won on a street course. So we'll see what they can do here today. And when we move back to row 2, we've got a Dyson Racing 675 car, but we also have a surprise with the Panos is looking really strong here. Now, Olivier Beretta qualified the car yesterday, but David Salins is going to join him in the car today. And David, after a sensational performance at Sears Point yesterday, you guys look really strong here on this point and squirt nature of the circuit here at Trois-Rivieres.
Oh yeah, like last race we already did an excellent job. The team really performed really well. And now I'm together with Olivier, and we come along really well, and changes on the cars are suit both, and I think we can do an incredible job today. But we always have to see, but I have a lot of trust in my teammate and my team.
Okay, David, good luck. 900s dominate the front row, Lee Diffie, but the 675 should be a factor once again.
Calvin, and if we needed to be reminded of that, we only have to look back 7 days to Infineon Raceway. Often the 675 prototype 900 battle is considered a David and Goliath battle, and last weekend David won. That's right, Rob Dyson's team, Butch Leitzinger and James Weaver, took the fight to the 900s, and they won for the first time in the history of the American Le Mans Series. It was quite a feat. They were expected to win at Sebring. They didn't. They had problems. They said no to their invitation to the Le Mans 24-hour, stayed home, did testing, and it all came to fruition at that marvellous race at Infineon Raceway. What a moment that was. We caught up with James Weaver not too long ago, and he shared his thoughts on that significant achievement.
Well, it's tremendously important for us. To put it in perspective, General Motors, which is a slightly larger company than Dyson Racing, spent 3 years with Cadillac trying to beat Audi and gave up. And 12 guys from Poughkeepsie, upstate New York, have managed to beat Audi in 9 months. And when you look at it in those terms, it's a tremendously impressive achievement. And I just really take my hat off to Rob and the boys. Absolutely fantastic.
Weaver is one in a long line of great British drivers, but for the past 2 decades or so has made his living primarily on this side of the pond, driving his favourite type of race car.
I love sports car racing. Yeah, I'm doing what I want to do. I'm not looking to do anything else. I've raced
in England, Europe, Japan. I came over to America in the mid-80s, absolutely loved it over here. So it's very much like a second home for me. So I've only really viewed racing purely in the context of doing it because I thoroughly enjoy it. I haven't really sort of attached any great importance or significance to it, I must admit.
Weaver has driven for team owner Rob Dyson for many years, and at this stage of his career, it would be difficult for the Brit to move to a bigger team.
I'm extremely fortunate I drive for a private team, and it's a completely different culture in a private team. And I drive for Rob Dyson, a very charming, charismatic man to work for, and he loves his motor racing, he likes to enjoy himself, and I think he likes having people around him who are fun. And I've been there 17 years now, and it's really home for me.
At his home in England, Weaver leads a simple country life with his wife and family, and he enjoys motoring at a considerably slower pace.
I've got a young family. I like gardening, antiques, restoring old houses. Got a John Deere, love mowing the lawn. Lead a very relaxed, I'm extraordinarily good at holiday making. No, mate, it's a walk to the pub with the dog. That's about the only useful thing I've got. Because so often you go to the pub, say, oh, well, I think I'll take the dog for a walk, darling. Oh, look, there's the pub.
Pretty casual guy for a sports car legend, isn't he? Great win for James Weaver and Butch Leitzinger. Within the 4 classes in the American Le Mans Series, the 2 prototype categories are often considered the headline act. But more often than not, we see in the GT and GTS class close racing, exciting racing, and very entertaining motor racing. It's all battles in those 2 classes. Ferrari versus Porsche, Ferrari versus Corvette, and with more on GTS, here's Brian Till.
Lee, coming into the 4th round of the American Le Mans Series, it's been all Corvette on the pole. Collins and Gavin have 2, Fellows and O'Connell have 1. But it's very fitting that here at Trois-Rivieres, just outside the horse racing track, it's the prancing horse of the Ferrari of Thomas Inge. This is the chassis you guys won Le Mans with. A magical lap you put in qualifying.
Well, it was brilliant. Everything works together perfectly. I did a good lap, and I'm looking forward to continue like this in the race as well.
Well, look for that horse to stay out in front. The Corvettes, they're starting on harder tires, but this is not the only battle. GT is heating up. Martin?
In the GT qualifying, it was situation normal for Alex Job's McKenna Racing Porsches. They locked out the front row, first and second. The big story right behind them is the PK Motorsport team. They wrecked this car in qualifying at Sears Point, had a pretty lackluster weekend, but their Pirelli shod car has run the Alex Job cars very close indeed in qualifying. Robin Liddell, you're hoping for better luck than Sears Point here on the streets of Trois-Rivieres?
Yeah, very much so. We've found the tyres to be excellent so far. The Pirellis are holding up well, and I think we've got a good race set up. So it's a good place to start, given that it's a street circuit. It's going to be very difficult to overtake, and I was very happy with the lap I put together yesterday. So we're looking forward to the race.
So this British team, first time here, first time in the series, running the champions very close indeed.
Thanks, Martin. After the break, we'll give you the keys to the race. We'll introduce you to our starters, tell you more about Trois-Rivieres, but more importantly, we will give you 3 hours of flag-to-flag racing. This is round 4 of the American Le Mans Series. Speed Channel's coverage of the Grand Prix of Trois-Rivieres is brought to you by Porsche, for the pure sport of driving. Back as we gear up for round 4 of the American Le Mans Series here at Trois-Rivieres. Time now to welcome our Speed Channel analyst, Bill Adam. Good to see you again. I know that you love this place. You first came here in the mid-70s, saw the greats like Gilles Villeneuve. Looking forward to this one today?
Very much so. I love the atmosphere of this city, but the track is spectacular. The short nature of this place really just is perfect for such violent competition as we're going to see this afternoon. It keeps all of the classes very tight, makes passing extremely difficult. Terrific fighting.
Let's help you through this one. Time to take a look at the Porsche keys to the race. Bill, take us away.
Well, I think to start with the LM900 class, we have to talk about pit stops. Both the Yost and Champion Audis are remarkably equally well matched. The driving, the cars, the caliber of competition is very, very equal, so pit stops would be crucial. The 675, they have a little more of a problem than they had at Sears because of a turbo lag problem. They have a big turbo to get horsepower, can't spool up as quickly, and then when they get caught in traffic, that'll hurt them a little bit. GTS, terrific battle here. Michelin on the Ferraris for Pro Drive, Goodyear on the Corvette. That will be an ongoing battle all day long that could easily be decided again by pit stops. And finally, in the GT class, can anyone beat Alex Job and his 4 super drivers? Maybe PK Racing and that Pirelli shod car can do it today.
One of the highlights of the American Le Mans Series is the strength and depth of this field. Time now to meet our grid.
Hi, I'm Frank Bieler from Germany. I'm in car number 1, the Infineon used Audi, and my co-driver is Marco Werner.
I say, I'm Johnny Herbert of car number 38, and I'm from South London in England, and I'm driving with JJ Leto, I believe.
I'm Butch Leisinger from Reepersburg, Pennsylvania, driver of the number 16 MG Lola. My teammate is the lovely and talented James Weaver.
Hi, I'm David Salens. I'm from Brussels, Belgium, and I'm sharing my number 10 Panos car with Olivier Beretta this weekend.
Hi, I'm Gunnar Jeanette. I'm from West Palm Beach, Florida. I'm driving the number 11 JML Panos this weekend with Scott Maxwell.
Hi, I'm Andy Wallace from Oxford, England. I'm the driver of the number 20 Dyson Racing MG Lola, and my teammate is Chris Dyson.
Hi, my name is Michael Lewis from San Diego, California, driver of the number 12 Amerisweets LMP car. My co-driver is Tommy Dreesen.
Hi, I'm Tomas Enge from Czech Republic. I drive the number 88 Ferrari 550 Maranello from Team Pro Drive, and my partner in the car is Peter Cox from Netherlands.
Hi, I'm Oliver Gavin from Northampton, England. I'm driving the car number 4 from Corvette Racing, and my teammate is Kelly Collins.
Hi, my name is Jan Magnussen. I'm from Denmark. I drive the number 80 Pro Drive Ferrari, and my co-driver is David Brabham.
Hi, I'm Sascha Maassen from Germany. I'm driving the 23 Porsche with Lucas Luhr.
Nice to hear from the guys and see their faces, and it is a star-studded lineup. Look at that, the Corvette combination of Fellows, O'Connell. They're looking for another win, but they started further back than where they would like to be. Through the GT runners, Wagner, Buckler, they will be strong. All the way back to the hard luck story of John Field, Duncan Dayton. We will tell you lots more about that story as this race progresses. Bill, talk us around the track.
Well, unless you're really brave, only 2 good spots to pass, that being into turn 1 and into turn 6. But 11 turns packed in a mile and a half shows you how busy this place is.
Walls around it, concrete line walls around this circuit. It bites you if you make a mistake.
Yeah, Canada, I'm really curious too coming up to the start. We've seen 2 races in a row where JJ Leto has simply been brilliant off the start. What must Reinhold Jost have talked about with Werner, saying, don't let him go by. If he tries to go in deeper, you go deeper too. But Werner was getting in deep yesterday.
And here they are. They build towards a start. It's Marco Werner versus JJ Leto. Germany versus Finland on the front row. Here we go. Round 4 of the American Le Mans Series is underway. And look at on the inside. The Dyson car dives there. But it is the Jost Audi that takes the lead. Marco Werner, then JJ Leto as they head into turn 2.
Man, and I am quickly becoming a Werner fan. We said we didn't know about his quality compared to other drivers Jost has had. He has been brilliant at this track. Just remarkable. Talked about almost bouncing off walls, and he has been so spectacular that we swore he was hitting them.
Butch Leitzinger in third, following the 2 Audis up front. Then we have the 2 JML Panos cars. Look at this, Leto, hard on the brakes on the opening lap. Good close stuff between the 2 Audi R8s.
Leto is so good in these opening laps. He's almost like a Juan Montoya, that he takes advantage of the tires not quite being up to temperature. I wonder how brave Werner's going to be. The good thing for Werner right now, keeping the car out in front, is he does have that clean track, is going to get maximum airflow over the car. Look at him get looser off the corner.
Marco Werner for Jost Racing leads the way. The Infineon R8. Lap 1 down and many more to come.
Something to keep an eye on too. Look at Leto's helmet. Watch when he's under braking. Look how he gets compressed down in the seat, and then coming off the corner, look how it goes up. I wonder how tight his seat belts are, because you'd think they would hold him pretty much in position, but sometimes you're pushing down that gas pedal as hard as you can. It just forces you up.
Behind the top 3, behind Butch Leitzinger, it's Olivier Beretta, the best of the JML Panos. You can just see him coming into frame there, Jeanette. Then it's the second Dyson car, the 675 Lola MG for Andy Wallace. Then Tommy Dreesen, Thomas Enger, the best of the GTS class, being hounded by Oliver Gavin. Then it's David Brabham, Ron Fellows running 4th in class at the moment. Then Emmanuel Nespetti rounding out the top 5 in GTS, and here they are.
Is that a dream field right there? Look at the Ferrari Corvette, and all of the drivers are total world caliber drivers. Thomas Enga up against Ollie Gavin. You go, boy!
There was a problem for one of the prototypes.
That's a 670.
That's one of the Dyson cars,
It is.
it?
Yep. Oh, man, what is this? Look at this taking a run at the Corvette down the inside.
It's the 20 of Andy Wallace is in trouble.
Oh, my.
On just the second lap of the race. Look at this. Gavin, it could be Gavin on Thomas Enga. It is. Ollie Gavin taking the fight to the Ferrari right from the get-go.
Oh, they have been just going back and forth here through qualifying. Thomas Enga did pull out his lap. Let's get down to Calvin Fish.
Well, Andy Wallace has brought the Dyson Racing 675 car in. They're taking the rear clip off. Taking a look in there, they've got the laptop plugged in, so I'd assume it's something electronic, something to do with the engine. We'll try and give you an update shortly.
So problems for Dyson team early on. Meanwhile, this thrilling battle in GTS land, Ferrari versus Corvette. And look, Enga. This surprised everyone yesterday because they thought the Corvette would dominate qualifying, and the Ferrari pounced and pounced strong. Enga bringing the 88 car to the first pole for that team, for that mark for the year in the American Le Mans Series.
Well, guys, I just checked with the ProDrive team. They said the biggest thing right now is to stay out of trouble, but we got to remember, Enga did that lap on softer tires, and the Corvette guys, they went for harder tires, longevity. They think that their tires will be better over the long run. As a matter of fact, the guys down at Corvette said, give the Ferrari 5-6 laps, he's going to come to us.
You see that onboard shot there with Oliver Gavin. It says, get well, Gary Young. Gary is one of the mechanics on the number 3 car for Ollie Gavin and Kelly Collins. He broke his foot recently. And yes, Gary, we hope you do get better soon.
And there's a Canadian hero right there, that number 3 Corvette, right in the back of the picture. Remember, that is Ron Fellows. He has created a huge fan base here at Three Rivers. Every time he comes, he does not have to have a French Canadian name. They love him down here.
Calvin.
Down here with Andy Wallace. What's the problem, mate?
Oh, we're just going along mind of our own business. It lost power and then the engine just stopped altogether. So it's not looking too good.
Okay, well, they're pouring over the computer here, trying to sort it out, but it's losing laps here under green flag conditions. Very short lap here. Any problem today is going to cost you dearly.
Tough too, because don't forget Chris Dyson, Andy Wallace's co-driver, teammate, is the points leader in the LMP 675 class. You continue to ride with English driver Oliver Gavin, pushing Thomas Enga as hard as he can. Let's have a look at GT. 24 versus 23. It's the two Alex Joe Porsches.
Yeah, another dream battle here. We saw Alex allow these fellows to battle all last year. And this morning I talked both with, in fact, we had breakfast with Timo, and I talked with Sasha Mas and said, are there team orders at all? And he said, just don't hit each other.
Exactly.
Beyond that, anybody can go for it, anybody can win. And there's a huge amount of pressure on each team. I mean, they both want to win. Both sets of drivers are desperate to beat the other set. And along the crews, when the crews make the stop in the race, this could be a critical part.
With these two cars, as far as the race wins are concerned for the first 3 races this year, the score is 2-1. Masson and Lure have won 2. Well, there's John Field, Duncan Dayton, that car whipping on by.
Yeah, keep in mind there are 4 classes in this race. That's the ALMS 675 class, just going by the 2 GT cars. It almost gave Timo a shot off the corner. Look at this. I think he's going to challenge him down the end of the straight. Nope, not quite. Just a fraction short. Oh, that was close.
Sasha Masson, Timo Bernard, the Alex Job Racing teammates. 2 wins to Masson and Lure over the 1 for Bergmeister and Timo Bernard. And here is 3rd and 4th. What a story this is. You heard Martin speak with Robin Liddell earlier, the Scotsman. Yep. This has been one of the revelations of the weekend. He has been one of the revelations of the weekend. Robin Liddell and Alex Davison for PK Sport after a troublesome weekend last weekend when Davison copped a hip and shoulder and got put up onto the high bank at Infineon Raceway. They have responded very strongly, and the Ferrari, the Risi Competizione Ferrari, is chasing hard. That's top 4 in GT. We've brought you up to date and plenty more after this. A terrific place for a race and just a wonderful place to be. Trois-Rivieres, Three Rivers here in eastern Quebec in Canada. A big paper city and a town full of atmosphere here on race weekend. The local people really get behind and support this race. They're very educated in motorsport. They've seen a lot of Toyota Atlantic and Trans Am racing, and now they're getting their 2nd year of ALMS. We are under a full course caution, and this is the reason why Michael Schramm ran a little high on one of the ripple strips. We hear he has broken an upright. Bill, here's the replay.
Yeah, you can see he more or less just went right straight off. I think he just simply pulled off. He realized that something was broken and tried to stop as close to the barrier as possible, but you can see the car can't move.
And the course workers doing their best to retrieve Michael Schromm as quickly as he can. Disappointing stuff. They've got a local driver in that car, Jean-Francois Dumoulin, and he may not even get in the car. It depends. There's plenty of time left. This is a long race, 3 hours as opposed to the regular 2 3/4. Martin, what do you have for us?
Jean-Francois Dumoulin, tough break on your home track. You watch the car go off on the first couple of laps, but there's still time to fix it perhaps.
Yeah, the mechanic went down to see what happened exactly. I don't know exactly what happened, but I mean, we'll try to fix it and bring it back on track and try to do our best out there. I mean, it's a long race. Many things can happen, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, his teammate Mike brushed the wall and broke a track rod. He's saying these walls are like Velcro. The tyre touches it, the tyre stops, the car moves on. But as he says, if they can get it back, they can probably fix it. Tough break, though, for the car that finished 4th in GT last year.
As we mentioned earlier, this is a tough place. It will bite you if you put a foot wrong. That's what's happened with Michael Schromm and the Racers Group Porsche. Stay with us, we'll be back. Tonight at 9 Eastern on Speed, the German Formula One Grand Prix. If you didn't watch it live this morning, you can see it tonight at 9. I'm not going to tell you what happened, but it was an exciting race. 9 Eastern tonight, the German Formula One Grand Prix right here on Speed. We are still under full course caution conditions here as we see this wonderful view from above from the Porsche Skycam here at Trois-Rivieres, round 4 of the American Le Mans Series. We saw earlier the number 20, the Dyson Racing Lola MG with Andy Wallace on board. It slowed, came into the pits. We heard from Andy earlier. Calvin Fish has more on that now.
Okay, well, down here in the Dyson pit, the car has been retired. We're going to try and grab Chris Dyson. Chris, this is devastating for the championship. You lead the points right now. We believe a whole piston possibly.
Well, that's what the boys are telling me. Andy went out there and immediately had an engine problem. We came in and the guys looked at the engine, attacked it a bit. We're out.
You have a dual role here, though. You have another car in the race. You took overall victory last weekend. How about today?
Well, you just keep your head up and hope the boys do their jobs, and we're there at the end. I wish we could be up there in the mix, but today wasn't our day. So I hope it is with the other guys.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
And with the 675 points leader out, that gives John Field and Duncan Dayton extra motivation. Excess weight is never a good thing on a race car. Martin Haven found one team that found a way to decrease weight and improve performance at the same time.
We're always talking about the tyre battle, but here at Trois-Rivieres, the brake battle is going to be just as critical. And the latest development from the AP Racing factory in Leamington Spa in England is fitted to the back of the Orbit Racing Porsche. A new caliper, 14% better stopping, 50% stiffer, and yet the weight has gone down from 8 to 5 pounds. Now that's a 6 pound weight saving on the back of the car. May not seem a lot, but if you could save that much weight on every component on the car, then you get an idea of just how important that could be.
Yeah, that is tremendously important too for a couple of reasons. The unsprung weight, the amount of weight that is actually going up and down with the wheel, the lighter that you can make it, the better you're able to control it with shock absorbers and springs. But certainly brakes, particularly here on a street track, you get tremendous heat buildup because you really don't have effectively a long straight where you can get a lot of fresh air blowing in on the rotors. You've constantly got that heat. The cooler you can get it by more efficient braking, the better you're going to be for the entire length of the race.
That's not what Dyson Racing wanted to see, the 20 car being pushed behind the wall. Previous to that, we had a great shot on board with Peter Barron for Orbit Racing. That was the car that Martin did that brakes piece with. And they're pretty buoyant at the moment. They're looking forward to this round because although they had a little hiccup in qualifying yesterday, they've got Mark Lieb on board this week. Let's have a listen. Let's check in with some radio transmission on board the Corvette. Oliver Gavin. Slight technical issue there with that. We'll get back to live pictures from our Porsche Skycam. And before the full course caution came out, Bill, it was interesting to note Marco Werner had edged out a 2.7, virtually a 3-second lead over Leto. As we wind up,
boy, oh boy, well, Leto right away wanted to get by that Lola, and he is once again, well, I was going to say on the tail, he isn't. Werner has really been so impressive all throughout this weekend. And he's quite spectacular. He's doing something that I've never seen any Audi driver do before. He's almost driving like a sprint car. Tom Christensen would be the exact opposite. He's as smooth as glass. Everything was just flowing. Werner turns into a corner, just whap! He's hard on the throttle and pitching the car through the corner. It's spectacular to watch.
Prototype 900, first and second. Marco Werner, JJ Leto, the best of the 675, sits third. And look at this, Beretta Jeanette sitting there, but the Corvette Ferrari battle is heating up. And oh, massive lock up there as John Field comes into this battle as well.
Huge burst of smoke off the brakes there. Yep, there's the Corvette. You can see it.
And the 3-car Ron Fellows, he gets by the 80. The Brabham-Magnussen combination as it's very busy out there.
Man, oh man, that is downtown traffic in any city you go to. Just think you're trying to work this through the 700 horsepower race car. Right up on the tail of the LPs. Everyone this weekend has been so impressed with the cornering speeds of these Corvettes.
You know, guys, Ron Fellows did not qualify where he wanted to. They have a practice session just before qualifying. He nicked the wall and bent the right front suspension. They had to take it off, throw new suspension on it, didn't even get it on the setup plate, didn't get it aligned. It had massive amounts of toe out in the car. It was not the way they wanted it. He still qualified it within 3/4 of a second of the pole in GTS. Pretty impressive, guys. He's on the march.
And Ron is up to third in class. Let's have a look at how he got there as he continues to push.
Well, now following the Ferrari down into these final few very tight corners, look at him just trying to figure out which side of the road he wants to try and set him up on. Patient through this right-hander. And here, just a little bit off the gas there for the Ferrari. Now Ron is on his tail going out into turn one. This was one of the two excellent passing spots. He's going to be patient. Lots of tire smoke there, ducked to the inside. Boy, it's close. Well, let's see, where is he going to get him?
Down in the arch. That's a brave spot.
That's a really brave spot. That is, oh boy, there's a burst of smoke right there too.
David Brabham fought that as hard as he could, but Ron Fellows won that individual battle. Now he handles traffic, he battles traffic, weaving his way through the GT cars as he gets past the Hazardous Sports entry. Andy Lally and Spencer Pumpelli.
Boy, look at the names driving these cars. Just think like Ron Fellows battling David Brabham in that Ferrari. Two such brilliant drivers. One of the good parts about where Ron took that chancy move down to the arch, it's a spot that drivers don't normally think you're going to be challenged at because it is so risky. Sometimes you can get away with it. I'm surprised that Brabham wasn't kind of watching for him at that point.
Let's have a traffic cop report, and I can tell you that John Field has been the best in the traffic. That's for sure, because he started 31st and last, and John now runs 9th.
Wow.
Sensational progress. We enjoy the ride with Ron Fellows. He has a very hectic schedule on the track during the year, but he enjoys time away from the track as well.
As a family, we would be movie buffs. I've got both boys are now. Lindsay sings. She takes singing lessons. Both boys are now taking piano. I got a guitar, a couple of guitars, and kind of been doing a little bit of that again. Yeah, I love music. Try to lay low. It tends to be pretty hectic, all the travel, and so you like to go home, and it's not. Unlike James Weaver, I don't do the gardening.
And that is one of the other great things about the American Le Mans Series. It's a pretty tight-knit group. All these guys get on pretty well.
They do. They're really fast friends. It's so much fun to see.
In the prototype category, it is still Marco Werner by 1.5 seconds over JJ Leto. Leitzinger is still the best in 675s. Back in GT, the Alex Joe battle continues. And we have to update you, and it's a pretty significant point with these two cars. They have now been deemed official factory cars, and they no longer get the privateers prize money. And that is significant, not necessarily for them, but for the other guys.
It really is, because what was happening was that Alex Job is in the position of where he is right now because of a lot of hard work as an amateur. He was the little guy that indeed did make it big. He was getting factory engines, factory drivers, factory new pieces that other people weren't getting. So I think he's doing the right thing by taking himself out of the privateer point fund and giving the money to the other people so that maybe they can come up and challenge him a little bit. Although, boy, that's going to be a job. How do you beat the best? There's Robin Liddell in the back of the picture there. So that Pirelli, the yellow car that we just saw in the back, there's Alex, and Robin is right there in that little Porsche.
The way that works, the way that unfolds, is that they are essentially privateer cars with factory backing. And it was IMSA's doing. IMSA said, well, we regard them as factory cars. We're not going to pay them privateers prize money.
Yeah, and certainly all the other competitors did as well. I mean, PK and Kevin Buckler and a lot of fellas who really have to step up and pay a heck of a lot of money to try and make their cars competitive. They certainly appreciate this change as well.
So the Alex Job car is running strong, but look at Robin Liddell. He's not too far behind, and the Buckler car hassling Orbit. You rejoin us live here on Speed, the view from the Porsche Skycam, and you're looking at race leader for Yost Audi. This is Marco Werner, who has virtually a 4-second lead over JJ Lato in second. Third outright. First in class is Butch Leitzinger. Then it's Olivier Beretta and Gunnar Jeanette running in the top 5. John Field in his 675 has got up to 6th overall, second in the 675 class. And then it's Tommy Dreese running in 7th. The GTS battle has been stunning. Thomas Enger is still holding the Corvettes at bay. Meanwhile, for the number 1 Infineon Yost Audi, Marco Werner, who just set this field alight yesterday in qualifying, is continuing to cruise away from JJ Lato.
Yeah, and you saw in that graphic we just had a second ago there that in one lap he jumped up more than a second and a half. That's one of the frustrations on a circuit like this, because if you do catch slower traffic at the wrong spot, it can hurt so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yost, of course, won here last year at the hands of Tom Christensen, Dindo Capello. They're in search of their 4th American Le Mans Series title. Back to GTS, back to Thomas Enger for the ProDrive Ferrari, and he's got a mirror that looks yellow at the moment. Ollie Gavin and Ron Fellows in hot pursuit.
Yeah, they're going at it really good right now, and Thomas Enger is such a quality driver. His lap yesterday at the end of the day was one that took the Corvette guys completely by shock. They didn't think that he was anywhere close to challenging, and suddenly he just ripped off this blistering lap.
Well, he did indeed put in that blistering lap, but I checked with the ProDrive guys right now, and really the Corvette program too. It's a card game. They want to lead this race. They certainly want to be leading at the checkered flag. The question is, how slow can we go and still lead it? So they want to just set the pace for right now, be calm, be cool, and maybe even win this thing in the pits.
Well, we got a Porsche sideways right now, and I think everybody's going to get by. It looks like, yeah, he's going to get out of the way. That's at the end of the straight, actually. He must have gone in there by looking at the rubber marks. He got the car all crossed up and sideways, but he'll be able to rejoin. That shouldn't be trouble.
Chris Gleason, Mark Bunting. It's been a troublesome start to this race. Look at Ollie Gavin right on Thomas Enger now.
That is good stuff. The Corvette, one of the things that everybody's been very envious about this weekend, their traction control system. They just throw this car to the corner, stomp on the gas, and then let the computer help them put all that power down to the ground.
Interestingly enough, Bill, you talk about the traction control on the Corvette. They're using it sometimes and sometimes they're not. They actually turned it off at the beginning of the race so the drivers could have a little more control over the car, slide it if they needed to. Once they get into a mode where they're kind of setting the pace, they put the traction control on. That way they can conserve the tires. But it's one of those things where they can dial it from 0 to 10. There are all kinds of different stages in between there. Pretty technologically advanced stuff.
No traction control on the Ferrari, but Thomas Enger, as well as being a single-seater star in Formula 3000, the level below Formula 1, also drives World Rally cars. So if this Ferrari starts to get sideways on him, he's not going to mind. He can throw anything around by the scruff of the neck, traction control or not.
Boy, well, the crowd would love that here. The more these cars go sideways. Yesterday we had a Trans Am race. They love lots of sliding. And personally, I agree. Take traction control off these cars. Let the guys get sideways, smoke the tires up, and make a spectacle.
Not only is this a battle for class honors, for whatever, it's a great battle for iconic sports cars, isn't it? Corvette for America, Ferrari for Italy, and this is as close as you would like it, and it's allowed the other car for David Brabham, the second ProDrive Ferrari, to come right up on the back of Ron Fellows. All four together. Look at that as they come through the arch.
Boy, what a fabulous battle. The sound of this Ferrari going around these street courses, you've got to attend the races to fully appreciate it, but this big snarling V12 and this special gearbox they've got, they can shift so fast it almost...
Wenger out of shape. He was lucky to hang on to that.
Holy gee, well that's his rally ability right there that Martin just talked about. Look at him flashing the lights. Get out of the way, and he actually got a little bit of a gap. I think the Corvettes are worried about him at that point.
Talk about a quick recovery. Not only did he hang on to that, then he just disappeared and got away. He got a margin on Ollie Gavin.
Oh, I love to watch that. This is just furious, battling all the way through these GT cars with the GTS Ferrari and Corvette we're walking. This is great stuff.
As they come onto the main straight to complete another lap again, this is a 3-hour race for round 4 of the American Le Mans Series. There is just so much racing happening out on the track. We're going to give it to you in split screens. On the right, it's the GTS class battle. On the left, in the smaller screen, we ride with Alex Job Racing. Timo Bernard chasing his teammate Sasha Masson. First and second in class. Third in GTL is Robin Liddell. Fourth in the Risi Competizione Ferrari is Anthony Lazzaro, the 1999 Toyota Atlantic champion.
I'm watching that right-hand box right now, and Thomas Enga's lead has once again evaporated, although they've seemed to split off a little bit by Brabham. No, right there, Ronnie Fellows just got blocked.
And look
is that the Audi?
Look in the background. Traffic has hampered Marco Werner.
Wait a minute. That is... Look at this now. This is very interesting. They are so embroiled in their own battle, they might not even know that Audi is there. Well, yeah, that's right. He didn't know he was there because Ollie went to pull in there and suddenly the Audi's alongside.
And that has helped JJ Lado. The gap was out to 4 seconds. Last time round it was 2.7. Lado saying, come to me, I'm reeling you in. As they go across the line again, the margin between Werner and Lado remains exactly the same. 2.7 seconds after 25 laps.
And this is always a huge card game at this track because you can virtually depend on yellow flags coming out at some point or another. So you can almost safely let your competition get a little bit in front of you, not too much. But it shows you again the importance of the pit stops. You see what the difference is when they get blocked at the wrong point, you suddenly pull out a second or 2 seconds. If you pick up or lose that in a pit stop, dramatic effect.
We look now at the ADT champion Audi. Finnish driver JJ Lehto. And look at that. That's how that margin has dramatically reduced from in excess of 4 to just under 3. And slowly reeling Marco Werner in. Remember that Frank Bieler, birthday boy yesterday, will take over the number 1 Infineon Yost Audi up front and replacing JJ Lehto in this one, former Formula 1 star Johnny Herbert.
Look at how fast that Corvette is. Down the front straight, the Audi is barely pulling on it, but under braking, gets right up alongside. And again, notice the height differential of JJ's helmet. Look at how it's climbing and squatting.
The Ferrari next on the list, down to the arch, couldn't do it.
Cautious.
Back straight, time for the Audi to stretch its legs. And now makes short work of the 550 Maranello. So JJ Lehto continues the chase on Marco Werner. It's the Yost Audi leading the champion Audi. That's in prototype 900s. It is still Butch Leitzinger, winner from last week's race at Infineon Raceway in the 675 Dyson Lola MG. Sits outright third, best in 675. We'll be back. An historic place for racing, Trois-Rivieres here in eastern Quebec. And we have been blessed with beautiful weather all weekend at this very scenic place that thoroughly enjoys motor racing. And for the second year in succession, the American Le Mans Series. Welcome back to round 4 of the ALMS, Le Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. And up front, second place, JJ Lehto chasing Marco Werner, and now they've got clear of traffic. Werner has been able to open it up a little more, 3.5 seconds. So it's marginal stuff that we're talking about, but Werner has led from the get-go. And here is our race leader. He won Sebring earlier this year with Frank Bieler, with Philip Peter, and that was the beginning of what could be a very memorable year for Marco Werner.
He continues to impress me. I said back at Sears Point that I thought he might be the weak member of the team. You know what? I think he might be the strength of the team. I think he's actually faster than Bieler.
Well, Calvin Fisher's with Frank right now. Maybe you could ask him that, Cal.
Well, Frank, celebrating your birthday yesterday. I know you want to celebrate a win today, but talk about your teammate. First time here, he's been sensational.
Yeah, he did a very good job yesterday, and also now the start of the race was perfect. He's able to increase the gap as soon as he has no traffic, so it's very, very fast and doing a pretty good job.
I know you typically get through about 20 cigarettes during one of these races. Is this a two-pack day?
For sure, too long.
And it's very, as you can hear, it's quite loud down there in the pits. This track just surrounds the infield section where the paddock and the administration building, everything is. The track, there's not one place in the paddock where you go to where you can't see racing action. Fabulous vantage points on this circuit.
Yeah, one of the interesting things also is that you never hear any complaints by the local people that live around here.
Yeah.
They all sit out in their porches and their verandas and enjoy the sounds.
You're watching up front the P900s of the Infineon Yost Audi team and the ADT champion team. Let's take a look at 675s because Butch Leitzinger, whilst we've lost, if you've only just joined us, we have lost the number 20 Dyson 675. It went out earlier. Andy Wallace, some problems with the car. Sadly for Chris Dyson, his co-driver, because he is the championship leader in 675. But this Dyson car, the mighty one that won last week at Infineon Raceway, is still going, and Leitzinger is strong, third overall, top of the class.
He is such a good driver, but again, front brakes getting... Okay, that explains right there that this gap now from the leader back to Butch is now grown to 19 seconds. Butch is just saying the front brakes are getting hot. He's probably taking it easy on the car.
Whilst he remains up front in 675, second is John Field, the Intersport racing car. And I said that we were going to tell you plenty more about that story for John Field as we watch Leitzinger cruising. Here is the car that Duncan Dayton has affectionately called the Junkyard Dog. And you see that mishmash of colours on there. That's because part of it is the ex-factory car that they've got from Chamberlain. It flew in after their horrendous accident last week.
3.3, excellent.
Thankfully, Duncan Dayton is okay. We've seen him this weekend a spin.
Look at the
60.
fluid.
That's Robin Liddell.
Look at the fluid all over that track.
We hear that one of the JML Panos cars was involved. That's Robin Liddell, was third in GT.
Well, the Olive Garden Ferrari just went across that fluid and didn't move under hard acceleration, so I don't think it's oil. Maybe it's just water out of it. Perhaps they...
Look, there's the Panos, it's running slow. We're on board with the Olive Garden car. One of the Panos cars is running very slowly. Let's have a look at a replay. We've got that on tape. This can explain more.
This is down at the end of the back straight. And oh, he locks up the rear brakes going in. Oh, and tagged the wall as well.
It's Gunnar Jeanette.
That is Gunnar.
But that's already...
Wow.
It's something that has already happened with Robin Liddell. Oh, Gunnar very lucky there not to get clipped by David Brabham.
I wonder if Gunnar maybe got sideways on whatever the Porsche had already laid down on that particular piece of track.
Martin.
Well, not very much damage on the front. He's lost the dive planes on the left front corner, and that might hurt them, although this is an anti-clockwise corner, an anti-clockwise track, so it's the outside, the right front corner that is really the one that does all the work. Now, they were hoping, I was just talking to the crew, they were hoping with a yellow to stretch their fuel window all the way to an hour beyond the normal 50 minutes. And that might have been important because, of course, this is a 3-hour, not a 2-hour 45 race, and they were hoping to get away on just 2 stops. Looks like this has put a wrinkle in that particular plan.
You'll notice there that under Jeanette, it says Maxwell, Scott Maxwell, the Canadian driver, joining Gunnar Jeanette in the 11 car this weekend. Ben Leuenberger should be back at some stage throughout the season. And in the 10 car, it is Olivier Beretta and David Salen. So new lineups in the JML Panos team this weekend at Trois-Rivieres. Well, they're really starting to get into a rhythm now. This race should be good. In addition to Speed Channel's coverage of the World Rally Championship, one of the other programs we'd love to bring you is Rally Extra, and that's coming to you 6 p.m. right here on Speed. That's 6 Eastern from the Rally Deutschland. Rally Extra right here on Speed. The view from above, the Porsche Skycam through the arch. Race leader Marco Werner doing a wonderful job, 2.5 seconds out in front, and that's remained fairly consistent.
This is the back straight here at Three Rivers. They get to about almost 150 miles an hour along here before braking. Oh, and there's a Ferrari. Look in the back.
That's David Brabham. Brabham is in trouble. Brabham is in trouble right when he was with Ron Fellows. He was really starting to up the ante in that battle there, and Brabham is in trouble.
And you can see the lights. They're still showing headlights up against the white reflective on the tire wall, so the car is still running. He has just gone in too deep under braking. Look at the skid marks off. Just locked the brakes up and went straight through. He's saying push it back a little bit further. Here's one more look. Just watching the background. Look at it. Yeah, locked up solid. Ah, man. Oh, it didn't hit the barrier at all, though, so that's good. He should be able to rejoin. And I don't think he lost a lap in that.
Has recovered. Didn't appear to be damaged on the front wheel. That gives us a good look.
I think everything is fine. Even the dive plates haven't been knocked off the car, so that should handle fine.
But it does take him out of the equation. It was a great four-way battle between Corvette and Ferrari, and now that takes a lot of pressure off Ron Fellows, and he can concentrate on Ollie Gavin and Thomas Enger.
Yeah, and one of the residual problems that happens in that, as well, it is a 37 car now coming into pits. One of the problems is just like...
I don't think it's the
John Field, sensational opening stint. From last on the grid to 5th overall. Calvin?
Well, it's Duncan Dayton who's going to hop in here, and they call it the Junkyard Dog. Look at the different colors on this machine. A lot of padding inserts being exchanged here with Duncan and John slightly different in stature. Duncan's going to get in, and the crew goes to work. Fueling can be done, driver change can be done whilst this is happening, and then they go to the tires. John Field here on the other side of the wall, going to try and catch a quick word with him. He's getting his helmet off. John, they call it the Junkyard Dog, but this car seems to have some speed this afternoon. Good run for you in that first stint.
The fuel light came on and it hiccuped, and we're just nervous it's out of fuel. So we weren't going to risk it, so we came in. If you run these engines out of fuel, you blow them up.
Okay, well, they lean them down if they run them low on fuel. That will burn the pistons, certainly, and this means this is definitely a 3-stop race for this car, and there's a real gamble, certainly, for the Panos if they can do it on 2. Audi should be good. They believe they can get 1 hour and 10 minutes on those 900 machines.
And that Intersport team deserves a medal. They have worked round the clock to get that car on the track this weekend. And to finish the story, we started about this earlier, Bill. Of course, that horrendous crash that Duncan Dayton had last weekend involving the Orbit Porsche. Let's have a look at it from last week at Infineon.
Yeah, frightening. The Porsche sitting up over it. Look at this tremendous impact. Duncan came over the blind rise at Sears Point. Another replay. How close? Oh, my.
He had nowhere to go. He was telling us yesterday it's in excess of $200,000 damage to that car. Emergency phone calls, emergency freight bills, because they got a lot of equipment, the tub, etc., from Hugh Chamberlain in the UK. A lot of the parts came over. It all arrived Thursday morning, and that Intersport team has literally worked round the clock to get this car here, and that makes it even a better story that John Field has been able to bring that from last to 5th overall. Their first stop, that puts them out of that position, but they'll be strong today. You've just got that feeling.
Terrific. When I talked to one of the crew on Friday afternoon and asked them how long he'd been working, he said, "What day is it?"
Duncan, is the car missing at all? Copy.
Up front in 675, Butch Leitzinger. He is all by himself, sitting 3rd overall, top of the class for the 675 tree, and it's been a very solid run. He's some 30 seconds behind our race leader, Marco Werner. We'll pick it up when we return to Trois-Rivieres. You're watching the American Le Mans Series. You join us live back at Trois-Rivieres, round 4 of the American Le Mans Series. A great crowd on hand here today, thoroughly enjoying the ALMS, and you can stay up to date with everything in the world's biggest sports car series on AmericanLeMansSeries.com. One of the Porsche keys to the race was, can Alex Job Racing be beaten today? Well, problems like this will help the other teams. There's big hassles for the 24 machine. Calvin.
Well, Timo Bernhard brought it in. He got out of the car and just shook his head. He had clipped the right side. You see damage to the wheel, and it has broken the suspension. This is going to be a lengthy stop and absolutely take him out of the running for the win today.
Let's have a look at what happened. Bill, talk us through.
Well, it's the replay. Once again, this is the corner coming out of the front straight. Look at the wall on the right. That's it. that is as fast as it happens.
And guess who did exactly the same thing yesterday? Mark Lieb. Porsche factory driver Mark Lieb for Orbit Racing did exactly the same thing in qualifying. And it was so tight, nothing else touched, just the tire.
Well, sometimes, yeah, because you're turning the Porsche into the corner, so think of the leading edge of your tire being pointing out, and suddenly the tire makes the contact with the concrete, it gets driven backwards and breaks the spindle.
Marco Werner up front, 6.5 second lead over JJ Lehto. Leitzinger is still third overall. Beretta, Dreese, Thomas Enger, top of the GTS tree, sits 6th overall and holds Ron Fellows off now. So Fellows has got past Ollie Gavin. Then it's Naspetti and Brabham running 5th in class. Gunnar Jeanette with those problems earlier. He's dropped to 11th.
Well, that's finally encouraging for the Olive Garden guys, seeing Naspetti up there, getting ahead of Brabham. So the car is still running well. Poor Gabriele Raffinelli, he keeps working and working and working, but thankfully never gives up.
Let's have more from the 24 car for Alex Job. Here's Calvin.
Timo, you look devastated. What happened out there on the course?
Yeah, I was behind another driver, behind someone who I passed, who I left, and then I couldn't see the inside of the wall, so I hit it. So slightly, it's something on the upright is broken, so let's see, maybe we can get back to the race.
Well, he told the story that you can tell in his words he's very disappointed. These guys are absolute professionals. They don't accept mistakes.
Well, the other driver he was behind was the sister car.
Yeah, and Timo will be upset about that. There's a lot of friendship in these 4 drivers, so there's going to be a lot of good-natured joshing about that. Going, you hit the wall, Timo.
Race leader Marco Werner for the Infineon Yost Audi R8 leads the way, and comfortably the margin fluctuates, and that's according to traffic. You'll see JJ Lehto come around. There is the ADT champion Audi, and it's been so far a faultless race for these 2 up front.
There's the Olive Garden Ferrari right ahead of him. He should set him up pretty easily for a pass down the front straight. The Ferrari putting out a lot of horsepower. They're really happy with the engine development program that Elan out of Road Atlanta area is now doing the motor for the Ferrari. They're very pleased with the horsepower they're seeing out of this car.
Of the 3 races so far in the 2003 American Le Mans Series, 2 victories for the Infineon Yost team. The opening round race of the year, the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring. A terrific win for this guy to add to his Daytona 24-hour victory. He's finished on the podium at the Le Mans 24-hour. He finished on the podium at the Nürburgring 24-hour this year as well, just a couple of weeks before Le Mans. So he has been very, very busy. Somewhat controversial placement. People kept asking the question, how can Emanuele Pirro not be in this car? How can Dindo Capello not be in this car? But so far, Werner has lived up to his end of the deal.
He sure did.
Time for a quick break. We will leave you from Trois-Rivieres. Plenty more coming up, including some words with ALMS CEO Scott Atherton. Welcome back to Trois-Rivieres, round 4 of the American Le Mans Series. Marco Werner continues this strong run, and perhaps now the biggest lead margin that he has enjoyed in the early stage of this 3-hour sprint race. That's always the argument, isn't it? This is endurance racing, but this really is a 3-hour sprint, 15 minutes longer than the regular rounds of 2 hours 45. We would like to welcome the Panos Motorsport Group and American Le Mans Series President and CEO Scott Atherton to the booth once again. He joins us on a regular basis. Scott, good to see you again.
Thanks,
you got a race on your hands.
Well, I tell you, everywhere you look, there's a race. It's a tight track to begin with. You put 33 cars on it, so evenly matched, and we got what we asked for.
We mentioned at the top of the show that with those problems, and that's the best way to describe them, just little problems with Mexico and Washington, D.C. It was a slow start to the season, but boy, we're into the swing of it now.
I think we're hitting our stride. You know, you look at the car counts that we've been able to attract here in the heart of the season, and it's really a testament to the health of the series. 33 here this weekend, and believe it or not, we've got 39 entered for Mosport in 2 weeks, which will be a record. Wow. And the challenge there is fitting them into the paddock and onto pit lane.
Big news, and the biggest talking point over the last 7 days, you had a prototype 675 win outright. First time in history. Is that good for the series?
I think it is. It's been predicted. Rob Dyson and his team deserve nothing but credit and high marks for what they've achieved with that car. They very quietly and deliberately went out to develop that car into an overall winner. And when they announced that they weren't going to Le Mans this year so that they could develop that car, I think a lot of people thought that was just an excuse. But I think the dividends just got paid.
New manufacturers coming into the championship. What can you tell us?
I can't, pop any secrets today, but I can tell you that in nearly every category, knowing that we've got 4 of them to deal with out there, we are either aware of or are being told by credible sources that we've got new programs in the works. And when I say new programs, I'm talking manufacturers. So, the one type that continues to be a challenge for us is of course, prototype with the new 2004 rules. We're not aware of anything in the pipeline there, but it's safe to say that GTS and GT is going to be the deep end of the pool here real soon.
Yeah, there's been a lot of speculation, too, about Audi building a new car, perhaps going down to even a 675 Stala car. Have you heard any of these?
I haven't heard the 675 version of that. We've certainly been aware of what their plans are. Manufacturers by their nature are very, very tight-lipped for obvious reasons. They don't want to let anyone know what they're doing until it's their time. And we're no different. We don't have any inside line that provides us with the kind of scoop that we wish we had. But
I just thought maybe one of your dinners you might have heard some drunk engineer go, "Yeah, we have the car."
Yeah, it has been known to happen, but if that occurred, we'd have to be pretty tight-lipped about it ourselves.
Yeah, they'd have to kill us after they told us.
Exactly.
It wouldn't be a Scott Atherton visit if we didn't put you on the spot. Bobby Rahall's here this weekend, of course. Danica Patrick in the Toyota Atlantic Championship.
Right.
Here's some whispers around the place. Bobby might be thinking about getting involved.
Bobby has made his intentions and his desires known regarding the American Le Mans Series for some time now. And I think this weekend you could pass it off to the fact that we're running with the Atlantics, which is where Danica is. But the reality is, I think he spent as much time in our trailer as he did in hers.
Really?
And I hope that in the not distant future, we're able to see Bobby's plans come to fruition. He'd be a great addition. He's a star in his own right. If we could convince him to get behind the wheel, it would be icing on the cake. But I would be shocked if we don't have a Rahal program in the American Le Mans Series in the very near future.
Yeah, he always did enjoy driving sports cars. I remember back at Road America years back, jumped into a 962 and won the race, and he was beaming. He just had a great time driving.
I don't think Bobby does well in the timing and scoring stand. I think showing up on race day without a helmet bag in tow is causing some internal problems there. So we'd love to be the solution for his anguish.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, I know that race weekends are always a very busy time for you. Thank you for your time once again. Great to have you here, and thanks for the update, and we look forward to seeing you in the next round.
Lee, thank you very much, and I think all of our fans out there are glad to see us back on speed. Appreciate it.
Scott Atherton, President and CEO of Panos Motorsports and the American Le Mans Series, updating us on what's news and what's happening out on circuit. It's Marco Werner and Lado. Meanwhile, we've got the number 10 Panos on pit road. Martin.
Yeah, just as the boss leaves the booth, Olivier Beretta comes in. He waves away a drink. He's going to stay in the Panos number 10 car. And it looks as though they're going to try and double stint the Michelin tyres. He's just taking fuel on board, and he will hand over next time round. The car fires out. Calvin Fisher's got visitors as well.
Yes, Mike Lewis and Tommy Dreesy are in here right now doing a driver change. Mike Lewis behind the wheel. Tommy Dreesy and Mike actually competed against each other yesterday in the Trans Am race. Tommy had the upper hand, a podium finish. Mike finished 5th, and they're just actually trying to lubricate something under the hood of the car there, so the car wouldn't fire up. I'm not sure if it's a starter problem. Remember, in these rules here with the American Le Mans Series, the car has to be turned off during the pit stop and refire under its own power. So they're clipping the bodywork back on, hoping to get the number 12 machine back underway.
And those two guys have been thoroughly enjoying themselves in their first year of prototype racing, getting away just momentarily from Trans Am and sedan style racing. It's been a big learning curve, but there's been lots of fun for Tommy Dreesy and Michael Lewis. Race leader is still Marco Werner. Frank Bieler standing by. First round of pit stops not too far away. A 3-hour race on our hands today. Hour 1 highlights the start. Butch Leitzinger thought about it on the inside as the two prototype 900s went at it hard at the front, the two Audis. The early casualties began with Andy Wallace, Chris Dyson. Burnt piston problems there for the engine on the 20, and its day was done. Chris Dyson 675 points leader did not even get in the car. This was thrilling, and it still is. The Corvette-Ferrari battle in GTS, they were going at it hard and strong. An early problem for Michael Schramm and Jean-Francois Dumoulin in the Racers Group 67 machine. That forced them wide, and it also forced our first and only full course caution. The restart, we got going again. Butch Leitzinger has been top of the class in 675 and running third the whole day long. Watch Thomas Enger in the Ferrari get out of shape, then gather it back up and able to scoot away from Oliver Gavitt. At that point in time, flashes his lights, says, "Get out of my way, I'm coming through," and still leads GTS. Something on the track, we believe, and that was because of the PK Sport car losing cooling fluid. Gunnar Jeanette, some problems on the number 11 car. Came in, it wasn't as major as first thought, but it was costly time-wise. And then David Brabham, brake problems here. He ran on, and that immediately took him out of that great four-way battle as he was following Ron Fellows. Timo Bernhard, whilst running second in GT, chasing Sasha Masson, clipped the inside wall at turn 10, and that was extremely costly. Meanwhile, Marco Werner is your man, was your man, is still the man up front.
He has now got a 9.3 second lead over JJ Leto, just running away here. It doesn't seem like anything can slow him down.
Getting close to the first time we will see this car, the 38 car, the ADT champion Audi, coming onto pit road. This sport is all about teamwork. The drivers, sure, they're the high-profile guys. They get a lot of the praise. It's teamwork. There, we're coming up to the stage now where the guys in the crew earn their money.
Yeah, this is always a terrific battle, both inter-team too, because there's a lot of pride on line on Alex Job's teams as well. When their cars come in, each team wants to beat the other. Same thing on the Corvette, but even bigger is the Yost team versus Champion. Champion want nothing better to do than to show them they are a better team.
Up front in the 675s, Leitzinger, McMurray, and Dayton. Close moment for Butch Leitzinger. Watch this, top of screen.
Oh boy, he is so wide going off that corner there. Thankfully, that's a paved area. There was nothing happening at all, but very, very costly on time.
Coming out of turn 8, that was, and we've seen spins in the other races. It's been a wonderful weekend of racing, and Butch is in problems. Butch has got trouble.
Well, maybe that's why he went wide. Let's take a look at that right front wheel, see if he's got anything going down. Let's listen. That's going to bring a pace car if he stops there. That's it.
Trying to listen to the radio communication. Calvin.
38 car is in. We expect it to be fuel only. JJ Leto showing no signs of getting out. Tires are at the ready, but the Michelin guys believe they can double stint these and possibly stretch it to go the whole distance, 3 hours. Clean stop for the champion team.
Well, this could turn out to have huge implications. He got in just about perfectly. I'm sure this is going to bring out a pace car. Let's see what Yost do now.
Butch Leitzinger, the leader in 675, the race winner, the outright race winner from a week ago, stationary on the circuit. Brian.
Well, the 80 car is in. The 88's already been in. He took fuel only and changed drivers. Brabham gets out. Magnussen gets in the 80 car. The reason Brabham spun earlier, the brake pedal was getting long. No problems with the 88 car. I do believe they'll double stint the tires. That's what they did on the 88. It looks like what they may do on the 80 car.
The 28 has come to a standstill as well. The JMB Racing USA Ferrari 360 Modernas.
That's just out of the pit exit as well. So did he must just have pulled over there.
Guys, in fact, he ran off just out of the final right-hander in the middle of the pit lane where there's a big kink in the pit lane, ran out onto the outside side of the track, and that is as far as he could crawl. But that is the end of the race for Stefan Gregoire.
Boy, oh boy, the attrition rate is suddenly increasing, and look at this, Butch Leitzinger.
Right, yeah, I don't see anything that's obviously loose here.
We understand, talking to the team, that they've lost voltage on that 675 machine. Butch is on the radio trying to give the team indication, and of course they've got to try and get it back to pit lane. If it's in a dangerous spot, they may well do that, or their day may be done.
Yeah, I think it is done, Calvin. They're stuck out.
There's a problem. I just got word there's a problem with the battery.
No lights coming on.
Yeah, stay in the car, We can see brake lights, so the battery is working.
So it is.
Yeah,
It's okay.
something maybe on the steering wheel loop. Where was the smoke coming from?
This car has one of those high-tech steering wheels as well, so I heard him say there's no lights. There's a number of lights across the top of the wheel. Well, pace car is out now. This could turn out to have just, again, a huge implication in the race, because with Leto having made it in the pits, he has refueled. Werner's still on the track. He desperately needs to get in right now.
I think the key, though, is, Bill, if this is under yellow, they may put tyres on here, and this could give them a huge advantage over the champion car. We see that Frank Wieler's on the pit wall right now at the ready, so if they make a pit stop here with Yost, we could see tyres as well.
And what Calvin's talking about there is that the champion car came in, did not take tyres. They sent JJ Leto back out.
Yeah, the big advantage the champion is going to have is that he will be at the front of the field after Werner makes his pit stop. Even with new tires, he is going to be at the back of the pack, and of course the risk in going through this many cars on a restart is multiplied.
So they're cruising for the second time today here at Trois-Rivieres. The field is packed together under a full course caution. The first time we did that, it was due to Michael Schromm's Racers Group Porsche coming to a standstill at the end of turn 1, on the outside of turn 1. That now is the reason. The Dyson Racing Lola MG Butch Leitzinger at a standstill on the track. Originally there was thought that there was battery problems. That not the case. You heard it for yourself on the team radio. They said we can see your brake lights. Obviously the battery's okay. Is it a starter motor issue? It's something else. Butch Leitzinger was saying I can't see any lights on the dash, and he is going nowhere. Here's the 80 car. Jan Magnussen has just taken over from David Brabham.
And I think this is going to be good for them, because I'm still giving credit for the fellas that were able to get that stop prior to this pace lap. I think that's an advantage for all of them.
Well, not only did the 80 car get in before this stop, they did take on fresh rubber, and it could be that Brabs had that brake problem. His pedal got long, he went off and did that spin. That could have damaged it, so they did take new tires on the 80 car. The 88 is on old tires. They're double stinting.
Well, while they're under caution, we'll make the most of it. We'll pop away for a quick break, but we will return to Trois-Rivieres. Quebec, Canada has turned on some wonderful weather here for us for the 4th round of the American Le Mans Series here at Trois-Rivieres on the banks of the St. Lawrence River. Three Rivers comes from where the St. Maurice River splits into 3 ways. It's where the name's derived from. Lots of water around here, that's for sure. While we're away, the number 1 car came in. Marco Werner pitted and handed it over to Frank Wieler. Calvin.
Down here with Marco Werner, sensational first stint there. You were really charging hard. Was there some confusion here on coming into the pits here? Did they want you in a lap earlier, possibly?
No, we have a right strategy. The team do it also right. The yellow lap is not so good for us, but I think before that comes the yellow one and push not so hard. I saved the tires, everything was okay, very good car, very stable and constant in the lap time, that's important.
How tough is it with the traffic out there, different speeds of race cars on this awfully tight track, Marco?
Yeah, that is very, very hard, you have no chance. If they have the problem that everybody see on the inside, you have no place on the inside, and that's a big, big problem.
Great performance by Marco Werner. This team is so high on this man. The fact that he even took the qualifying chores over the man Frank Wieler, I think he went unbeaten last year, so a lot of confidence in this driver.
Still under full course caution here at Trois-Rivieres. Let's take a look at the top 5 and give credit to Olivier Beretta, Gunnar Jeanette. The 2 JML Panos machines have had a very strong weekend. Totally different driver combinations this weekend. Beretta with David Salins, the very fast David Salins, and Gunnar Jeanette with Scott Maxwell. They are not on the lead lap, but they are still in strong positions, 3rd and 4th. And Johnny O'Connell running in the top 5 overall and is at the top of the GTS tree. Brian, tell us more.
Well, while we were away, guys, both Corvettes came in, routine stops. They took fuel, they took tires, and they changed drivers. Gavin said his pedal was a little long when he came in. Ron Fellow said his brakes are fine. But take a look at the timing and scoring monitors. Don't forget that the 80 car was in front. The yellow giveth and taketh away. It's not anymore. The Corvettes had the luxury of pitting under the yellow.
So their crews get to celebrate with high fives over that one. In fact, what we're showing on our scoring monitor right now is that Biella has
Lights
a
are
lap.
off.
Well,
There's coming in.
Pace car lights are off. Biella has a 1-lap lead over Leto, so apparently he was able to actually pass him as he was in the pits.
And what that actually is, Bill, too, it's just taking a while to cycle through. He's got about 1 minute and 5 seconds lead. So JJ Leto is still on the lead lap, but he is about a minute, just a little over a minute behind. So JJ has really got to hustle. Green. We are going back to green here at Trois-Rivieres. Let's go for it. And JJ Leto is at the head of the queue. Now he must really race and hope that Frank Biella gets caught up in some serious traffic so he can bring that 1 minute 28 deficit right down.
That is exactly right. We've got to see just how hard JJ can push, because he's going to have the luxury of 4 or maybe 5 laps of good, clean track ahead. No blocking at all. Then, as you say, if he prays right, maybe he's going to get a yellow to allow him to go all the way around to close up on the tail of the Yost car.
In GTS, it's O'Connell and Gavin, the 2 Corvette teammates, going hard at it. And back on the GT scene, Lucas Luer has taken over from Sasha Masson, sits 8th overall, top of GT.
Boy, I saw in the background just one of the panos just snaking off the corner. The Michelin's cold on that tire, trying to put 700 horsepower down, unsuccessfully for a moment. Right there.
You're looking at Olivier Beretta.
That is Olivier.
Huge success in the American Le Mans Series. He's the only driver to win 2 GTS championships when he was driving for the mighty Team Orica in the Dodge Viper, and now enjoying his stint with JML Team Panos.
Yeah, in fact, I think that Olivier is the winningest driver in the ALMS because of all those victories in the Orica Viper.
Just great success. Still very active, and this is not very well documented. He is still very, very active in Formula One. He tests for Michelin tires. He drives the Williams Formula One car, and he's got some more tests coming up in the coming weeks.
All alone down the back straight, there's the champion ADT car. Panos directly behind. See the car squirm a little bit under braking there.
Okay, it's feeling a little bit better now.
Whoops.
That radio communication you can hear is on board with Olivier Beretta. Watch this.
Yeah. Wow, look at that.
That's what's called laying down rubber.
That is horsepower right there. The Michelins are a little bit cold, and they can't put it all down.
And that margin for JJ Leto has come from 1 minute 28 down to 51 seconds. So whilst Biella is caught up in traffic at the back of this pack, Leto is up front and clear and is enjoying that clear space. So he is taking chunks of time out of Frank Biella. Here is the ADT champion team, and look at that, a clear road ahead for JJ Leto. That is very, very valuable. And look at him squat down inside the cockpit, under braking. And remember, the man that will take over this car from JJ Leto when he's finished his next stint is Johnny Herbert, and he's with Calvin.
Johnny, a little bit of a bad break there. JJ pitted under green. You didn't put tyres on, obviously, and now the Yost team had an opportunity to do that. Will that be a factor today?
Well, it makes things difficult, but I have to say last year we had the same thing. We got that lap back. So it's still possible, but it's just going to make things a lot more difficult because we pitted. A bit of a confusion in here at the moment. We've got Algar saying we could have done 2 more laps, and we've got the other guys, the Audi guys saying we have to come in now. So we're working everything out at the moment, but we've just got to push hard now.
How about Frank on the new tyres? You said this weekend this track has been very difficult to bring the tyres in and get temperature, even with these conditions.
Yeah, it is. And again, he might hopefully lose a bit more time because he's obviously trying to pass the other cars, which is a bit more difficult. Hopefully when I get in and I do mine, I will have a free run and hopefully I can gain a bit more from that. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be tough, and here we go again.
All right, these boys here still looking for their first victory on a street course, both JJ and Johnny Herbert.
Well, JJ is trying really hard. Even though his Michelins are up to temperature, he did get the car a little sideways coming off that corner. So he's pushing as hard as he can, trying to take every bit of advantage of this clean track.
And plenty of open space at the moment. Dave Mirage and the guys in the ADT champion team watching the interval as closely, more closely than anyone. And we will give you an interval from JJ Leto Frank Biela that margin. And remember, although that JJ is in front on the track, he is chasing this car, and the interval, is it still coming down? Well, Biela is in some clear space now, so surely he will have responded to JJ Leto. At the restart, it was 1:28. Just 2 laps ago, it was down to about 51 seconds. We'll update you the next time he comes across the line.
And the previous lap, JJ Leto just did a 2-second lap quicker than Biela is doing right now. So every time he does that, that helps.
And while we enjoy the 900 class, there's a huge story in 675 as Johnny Herbert watches on anxiously, watches his teammate with the problems for Dyson Racing, the team that had to work so hard to get their car together. The Intersport Racing team, Duncan Dayton, John Field, now lead 675, and there's valuable championship points on the line. Speed Channel's coverage of the Grand Prix of Trois-Rivieres is brought to you by BMW. Visit your local BMW centre for a test drive. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Welcome back to Trois-Rivieres. We continue here, round 4 of the American Le Mans Series for 2003. And Frank Biela, car 1. The Infineon Yost Audi is leading the way by 46 seconds over JJ Leto. And look at this. The bad luck for the racers group continues. All 3 cars have now been off track. That's the second one that has gone off in turn 1, and that is Kurt Wagner. And it looks like the day is done for the 66 machine.
Boy, I think he's going to keep his helmet on because Kevin's going to pound on him when he gets back to the pits. He went around and took a look at that right front corner, so I think
that is Kevin, actually.
Yeah, it is.
Kevin getting out of the car.
Yeah, guys, I'm down here in the racers group pit with Kurt Wagner. Is this another deal where Kevin's just caught the wall on the right-hander right in front of you and broken the suspension?
You know, it's I'm not really even sure what happened yet. I guess the suspension did break. It was, you know, I guess he followed somebody too deep in the corner here. I'm not really sure what happened yet, so I can't know if it's driver or mechanical issue. You know, it's really disappointing. Running second place, the car was really hooked up. It was really a lot of fun to drive. The racers group guys did a great job. New Century Mortgage, these guys, you know, race technologies, these guys are incredible. And I got to thank them for putting together a great car today, and the Porsche's on fire. So, you know, what can I say? It was running really good. I'm not sure what happened yet, so we'll leave it alone.
We'll catch up with that as soon as Kevin makes it back here.
Dropping out of a race is disappointing enough, but when you're on the podium in class is absolutely crushing, and that's where those guys were. Team principal Kevin Buckler standing by and thinking of what may have been. That guy works tirelessly.
He does. I have so much respect for him. I think he's trying to accomplish the same things that Alex Job has accomplished, and taking a very small amateur team and succeeding. He won Le Mans last year, won Daytona, so he is one of the class people in the American Le Mans Series.
We were mentioning earlier that one of the great stories unfolding here, and it's at the misfortune of Dyson Racing, is Intersport Racing's climb to the top of the 675 category. And Duncan Dayton, the guy who had that terrible looking accident last week at Infineon Raceway, now leads the 675 field and doing a wonderful job in the junkyard dog. And here he is, car 37. The mismatch.
Just updating viewers too, we got word that the number 16 Dyson car is done. There is no repairing it because it was a wiring fire that apparently burned some substantial wires, and they say there isn't a prayer of fixing it today.
When the crew guys have to work around the clock and perhaps the car finishes early, it just breaks their hearts. When that car gets to the lead, that gives them a new lease on life, and that's exactly what the Intersport team have right now. Congratulations again to that team for working so hard to get their boys to the top. They now lead the class. Second in class is the 56 machine, the dark dog car for Brian Willman, Jeff Bucknam, and Chris McMurray. Chris had a great opening stint, did very well. They have been penalised. Martin Haven mentioned during the break off air, they've been penalised for coming into pit lane when the pits were closed, so they've lost several positions. They're 15 overall, second in class in the P675 category at the moment. And the Intersport car has a pretty healthy lead. There we go. We see the Dark Dog pill beam. And Willman on board.
And he is actually being shown as 2 laps behind Duncan, so not only is behind him on the racetrack by that sort of a margin we just saw, but 2 additional laps.
Early days in the championship. Championship points on the line, and that's the most important thing. You have to leave with points. And Brian Willman, this will give him an extra surge. He thoroughly loves driving, and I think he would find it very, very hard to give it up.
For me, racing is a calling, and it's the call of the throttle. And you know, the season ends, and you're tired, and maybe a little beat up, and maybe broke, and you're lying in bed one night thinking, I'm not going to do this again. Then 2 or 3 weeks later, in the middle of the night, you hear this voice, Brian, it's only 128 days to Sebring. Are you ready? And after you hear that 3 or 4 nights, you call up your partner and say, Bucky, I'm coming back.
Brian Willman. Well, maybe he should go and see someone if he's hearing voices. But a great story.
I think he needs to see Tommy Dreesy and get into the movies of Hollywood. That's it.
We ride with the 24, Timo Bernard, Jörg Bergmeister. We mentioned their problems earlier, and Timo was very disappointed. Clipped the wall in the same place where we think perhaps Kevin Buckler did. We know that Mark Lee clipped the wall, and it's right here. Turn 10, bang, that's where they hit it on the inside there.
This is a great indication of just how fast these Alex Joe Porsches are through the corners. That's the 675 car ahead of us. It's lighter. Look at this. He passes him. He actually takes him under braking going down into turn 1. They are very sophisticated Porsches, and a lot of the competitors are very envious. They're saying that actually in the midpoint of the corner, the Porsche is as fast as any class of car on the track, including the Audis or any of the Dyson 675s in the mid-corner.
Not only is the ALMS made up of 4 classes and a variety of cars, tremendous variety of cars, there's an awesome diversity of sounds. Please enjoy the sounds of speed and turn up the volume. From the Alex Job car to Justin Jackson, Dave Murray, the J3 Racing Porsche. Porsche, and let's watch Mark Lee, Porsche factory driver, winner of the Spa 24-hour just last weekend, dance on those pedals.
It is. It's like a ballet as he goes underneath the arc there. Just disturbs our view for a moment, but up the back straight here. Look at how quickly he's shifting, but he is using the clutch and backing off the gas on every shift. Now at the end, here we go. Look at this ballet. Just beautiful, just flicking his foot back and forth onto the gas pedal, just quick little blips just to match the RPM as he lets the clutch engage. Years ago, I watched a rally film where they showed Walter Roll driving one of the Audi Quattros in the rally. And Walter could do braking with either foot. Sometimes he'd use his right foot, sometimes left, just like a tap, and almost to keep the turbo spooled up. It's a wonderful thing to watch. The left foot braking can be beneficial more with a turbo car because you can keep your foot partly on the gas, but you still decelerate with that left foot. So when you're ready to step hard in the throttle, the boost hasn't gone away totally.
Plenty of cynics that say racing drivers aren't athletes. This proves them wrong. 11 turns in 1.5 miles.
Yeah.
Look at Mark Lee working, and that's his feet. What's his upper body doing in the steering wheel? He's wrapped in tight. Temperatures are high. Track temperature here is 100 degrees. Imagine what the cockpit temperature is. These guys are incredibly fit. They work hard in the gym. They work extra hard on their cardiovascular fitness. They are athletes and they are incredibly fit. A little like our Martin Haven.
Yeah, I'm probably a little less hot than him. I was just going to point out that we've seen one of the factory-driven Porsches hit the wall already, the 24 Alex show car. Mark Lee got his factory Porsche driver brush with the wall out of the way in qualifying, so he hopes that that's his one for the weekend done before they even got into the race.
The Orbit guys had a little extra work late last night as we were leaving the circuit. They were fixing the 43 machine, and it looks good at the moment and running strong on track, that's for sure. Leading GT class is Lucas Lewis. Second in class is the Risi Ferrari for Ralph Kelleners, and third is the J3 Racing Porsche for Justin Jackson.
What a run they've had today. This is good. Half the secret here is surviving, keeping the brakes fresh, keeping the car off the walls. Now let's see, I'm just watching here to see how big the lead is that Biela currently has on Leto right now. As soon as we get Leto across the start-finish line, I'll let you know. Leto is still continuing to run quicker laps. Gives you an idea that the physical pounding it takes. Watch JJ's helmet as he goes around here. 45 seconds back now. And the squat in the seat, that is just an enormous height differential. Fighting the wheel.
Giving you the overall rundown. It's Biela, Leto, Beretta. Yes, the Panos is on the podium in class and overall. Johnny O'Connell leads the way in GTS, 4th overall. Then it is Kelly Collins, 5th. 6th is Peter Cox. Gunnar Jeanette, 7th. Jan Magnussen, 8th. Lucas Lua, 9th. And Duncan Dayton is 10th. Cal.
Well, a bit of a scare down here for the ADT champion team. They monitor the tyre pressures and they had the red light coming on, so the team is actually at the ready just in case JJ needs to pull it in. They waited a lap. Everything seems okay right now. I just spoke to Mike Peters. He said, I think we're good to go, but we had a bit of a scare there.
Yeah, that's quite an incredible system they've got back there in the pits. Martin and I took a look at it yesterday, and they've got this very sophisticated computer that can monitor everything from tire temperatures to the RPM and a real-time telemetry on the track showing exactly where the car is, so they know if they want to call him in.
Well, guys, it looks as though they may not be the only one with a surprise pit stop. We've just had Gunnar Jeanette in because his seatbelt's popped open. And the Panos crew, having to make the best of a bad deal, put Scott Maxwell behind the wheel with a full tank of fuel and fresh tyres. So their tyres will now go the distance on 11, but that puts them right out of the fuel window. They will have to stop again unless we get a big run of yellows.
And is there problems with the pill beam? It looked like Brian Willman on that high shot from the Porsche Sky cameras running slowly. We will check on that, but here's Scott Maxwell, thrilled to be in the Panos. On home soil, he is a Canadian. And pushing strong, it's now his turn. Let's have a look. Here is the pill beam, Brian Willman.
Well, back at the end of the straight, almost going straight through. And I think that might explain him going very slowly at that point. That's the same spot we saw David Brabham slide through with the Pro Drive Ferrari. He avoided everything. Yeah, he's back underway. I think he just slowed down.
Don't get too many get out of jail cards on that corner.
No.
This is a tough, challenging track. It's a warm day up here in Quebec. And these guys are earning their paychecks, that's for sure. Frank Biela continues to lead the way. He and Marco Werner are the points leader in the 900 prototype category in the American Le Mans Series. Can they extend that lead today? We will find out. But JJ Leto is pushing as hard as he can in second to get that margin down. Johnny Herbert is standing by to take over from JJ Leto. There you can see Duncan Dayton trying to come up on the inside of one of the Ferraris. It looked like the 88 machine for Peter Coxon. The yellow flag is out. There's a local yellow there. Look at this traffic.
Yeah, I wonder if that local yellow might create a problem for some people, because there definitely was passing right there by a number of cars under the yellow.
Riding with the mighty Corvette.
What a sound.
It's Johnny O'Connell who leads the GTS category. Boy, was he and Ron Fellows pumped last week at Infineon Raceway. We had to call a Speed World Challenge race immediately after the American Le Mans Series race. I had to tie Johnny down to the seat in the announce
There's Audi
booth.
about a second and a half back. He's the leader. He's the leader.
He's just updating him on where Biela is.
Yep, that's Biela coming up right behind us.
Slips through on Brian Willman.
There's that voice going, Brian.
Still a
Biela
car
is
off
coming.
by turn 6.
151 miles an hour at the end of the back straight. And the Corvette stopped so well that Biela wouldn't take a chance of trying to go inside and outbrake him. And look off the corner. Look at the acceleration of this Corvette.
Whoa, 24 Bergmeister has spun.
Well, that's both of the drivers of that car have had an error today. Very, very unusual for these two. Now, has he... Oh, no, he's going. When that flag marshal started running, I thought... And everything sounds okay, too.
And that's turn 6, the exact corner that Bill and I just mentioned. You do not get too many get-out-of-jail cards. The replay.
Well, it's just, oh boy, he just simply lost it as he's coming off the corner. Look at the Ferrari trying to avoid him.
Jan Magnussen does a great job. The Asemco Ferrari ducking through on the inside as well. That was Terry Borchella. That's nice work, guys.
That's when you come around a corner and your eyeballs get really big in a hurry.
And now Bergmeister brings it into the pits. Duncan Dayton has his problems.
Well, I wonder if he's got a brake problem too, because look where he's gone off. This is turn 1. Okay, you heard him say it. The crew were saying, we'll give you fresh tires if you want. Duncan said, no, I got... He's saying he was hit from behind. So
let's find out. Well, we heard Duncan explaining it. Who is it? Who's there? It's Frank Biela.
Oh, and he did too.
Oh, and Biela gets a little sideways and was able just to sneak on through.
Boy, well, Duncan, you are right.
And Dayton able to continue. The 24 is in pit lane. Bergmeister. And that team has been having to work extra hard today. Let's have another look at York's spin.
Well, York coming down the back of the straight, braking, turning in, and gee, you know what? It sounded like he was doing everything proper, and just that little hump, just going over the bump, was enough to set the car loose at that point. Calmly backing it out of the way.
Calvin's there. What do you see, Cal?
Well, I think it's something, maybe he lost a downshift there or something. He's hitting the gas pedal or underneath the back of the car, looking in the engine compartment. There's not a problem with the suspension. They're giving another good look at the right front suspension that was damaged earlier, but they're looking at the electronics. And maybe when he goes for the downshift, he's not getting the flip or something that may have caused him a spin there.
Brian.
Duncan Dayton is in. They fueled it. They're going to put tires on it too. Probably damaged in that spin. They will not do a driver change. He looked at me, kind of gave me a wink. I think everything must be okay, other than the tag he got from Biela.
The junkyard dog is still barking.
He's winking at you, Brian? I don't know.
I probably shouldn't have said that, should I, huh?
So they are still at the top of 675. They have some margin over Brian Willman, that's for sure. Here is Frank Biela. We saw him engaged in that incident with Duncan Dayton. The front of the R8 does look okay. They have had a wonderful year so far. Every Monday night, right here on Speed, join the boys, Alan Bestwick, Michael Waltrip, Ken Schrader, and Johnny Benson for Inside Winston Cup. They'll bring you humor and insight, bring you up to date on everything that's happening in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Welcome back to Trois-Rivieres. What a shot. That just shows you what a beautiful place in the world we are at right now. Big trotting track right in the middle there. We're just to the left of that. And the North America's largest swimming pool is right behind the trotting track. We go on board with Johnny O'Connell.
Again locked up in a battle with one of the Ferraris.
Well, he's this is not for position.
Bragging rights, though.
Yeah, it is absolutely bragging rights. Boy, was he disappointed at Le Mans. when they did not come up with the
yeah.
victory. You're going to have a look at it now at a moment earlier on tape when he was trying to weave his way through traffic, and a GT car got Johnny Red a little hot under the collar. Take a look at this.
Well, sometime you're like you're so closely involved. Ah, look at the hand. That's going, yep, you're number one.
Johnny said, well, I think that was Justin Jackson. He said, Justin, you didn't do me any favors.
Yeah, it's one of those dumb moves that it doesn't accomplish anything by passing at that point.
He's in there, sorry.
You know you're going to get repassed in the following straight.
Standard looking pit stop as Jeff Bucknam gets into his own car. They have fueled it and put on tyres. And away he goes, no real problems. But guys, if you do have a problem in a pit stop for any reason whatsoever, the car won't fire or the tyres are slow going on, a potential problem is the amount of build-up. The heat from the brakes transfers into the tyres and can drastically alter the grip you get in the opening couple of laps. It heats the wheels up, that heats the air in the tyres, and they can overinflate just from sitting at a standstill. The other problem with staying in the pits for a long time is that the heat from the fuel, from the brakes can also burn out the rubber seals, and you can end up with no brakes at all after a long pit stop.
And while we watch Brian Willman there, we now watch second in GTS. Yes, there has been a lead change here. Kelly Collins has got ahead of Johnny O'Connell. So the number 4 car leads the way. O'Connell has relinquished the lead.
Smart, and we'll be good for the end, okay?
Radio transmission there to Johnny O'Connell from the Corvette team. Let's take a look at that pass for lead in GTS.
Well, coming down the front straight. That's coming up just before the front straight here. Let's see. Well, he just ducked down the inside. That was under braking, actually. That almost looked like the number 3 car moved over for him and gave him the courtesy room that he needed.
And remember, whilst the 88 Ferrari, the ProDrive Ferrari, is right in front of them, this is not for position. The Corvettes reign supreme at the moment.
Kelly Collins has been having a really, really good year this year. Always thought of as maybe the quietest member of the team, and we've learned that he's not. He is just full of fun and life. He's trying to set the Ferrari up for a pass right now.
Guys, I just checked in with Doug Vian, the program manager here at Corvette. There is absolutely nothing wrong with Johnny O'Connell's car. He said the guys were just taking it easy. We're just going back and forth, letting the guys run. We'll settle it at the end of the race.
That's good.
That was the last piece of radio transmission you heard. The last few words to Johnny were, you will be good for the end of the race. Meanwhile, Peter Cox is fending off Kelly Collins, trying not to lose a lap and go further down. And do you think Kelly's going to take it easy on him?
I doubt it. I think he wants to try and get by, because one of the downsides on following somebody is not only can you get caught up. I'll just try and drop out every time we hear radio, just see if we can hear what's going on. Look at how equally matched those cars are down the straight. That's amazing. But you can not only get caught up in their mistakes, but on a track like this, you don't get that good clean airflow coming into your brake ducting. So Kelly is picking up a lot of hot air right now. He's getting exhaust air off the Ferrari, and that's going to heat up his brakes. He does want to get by as quickly as he can.
Here comes JJ Leno slipping through. Still second overall, second in P900. He has his work cut out here to get by Kelly Collins and Peter Cox. He'll make short work of it. Oh, Kelly didn't see him, I don't think.
And look at the other Corvettes.
Now Johnny O'Connell sweeps around the outside, side by side. The Corvettes down the front straight. O'Connell will have the preferred line down into turn 1. Will Kelly settle? He does. Yeah. Johnny goes through.
That's one of those positions when you're driving that car, you see your teammate coming, you go, oh, man, why did you have to block me here?
And that was close for JJ Lato. He was able to get by, though. 39 seconds he is behind Frank Bieler at the moment. The race for the Prototype 900 class and first and second overall. That's how it sits.
One of the great difficulties, and I think one of the immensely satisfying parts about running in a multi-class race, is that you've got to be not only intent and concentrating on your own battle, but also pay attention to cars coming up lapping you. And that's something that's so easy to get caught up by focusing only on one thing.
Still third in the P900 is still Olivier Beretta, and we are yet to see David Salins. How quick can he pedal that JML Panos?
I see that lap right there related with copycat. The Corvettes cost him 2 seconds. He now is down to 40 seconds behind Biela.
In GT, it is still Lucas Luhr for Alex Job Racing, who leads the way and is looking at his third victory of the season along with Sasha Masson. Second in GT is still Ralph Callinas and Justin Jackson, Dave Murray. They run third ahead of the Orbit Porsche. Still so much more to come, a little more than an hour.
Take it easy on those brakes, okay? Nice and easy.
You're watching Le Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres, round 4 of the American Le Mans Series. Plenty of radio communication, plenty of wonderful shots, especially this one from our Porsche Skycam. Back down on the ground now, and Johnny O, he leads the GTS class for the Compuware Corvette ahead of teammate Kelly Collins. 1 and 2 for the Corvettes. Third in GTS is the 88 of Peter Cox. Fourth is Jan Magnussen, the 2 ProDrive Ferraris. And fifth in class is Mimo Schiatarella for Team Olive Garden Racing in the third 550 Maranello Ferrari. It's the Corvettes that are dominating, though. We ride now with Mimo.
Boy, one of our favorite sounding cars here, too. Just listen to this. That thing goes through the gears so quickly. Just sounds beautiful.
Problems there for the 30. Linfield, Michael Duran. And it's not the first time those guys have run into trouble today. He's been able to keep it going.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Clint fires it up and away he goes.
Again, that's that area that's paved, thank goodness. Here's a look, Liz. Is he coming into the corner? Is he on the inside? Look at that. I think that's going to surprise him, maybe. Yeah, that's it. Just destroys concentration just for a moment. Look at how quickly the Ferrari took evasive action, too. Good work there.
That's twice now Terry Borchell has had a close call.
Man, oh man, some days.
His reflexes are being put to the test.
Yeah, good job, Terry.
And Clint was following the sister Intersport racing car. One of them, of course, in Prototype 900. The other is in P675. Back on board with the Olive Garden Ferrari and riding with former Champ Car driver, former F1 driver, Mimo Schiatarella.
So guys, Gabriele Raffinelli does such a great job with this team. The engineer, Luigi Urbanelli, in the offseason completely redesigned it. They've got better horsepower now, a better suspension, but they seem to have lost somewhere between 0.5 and 0.8 G's worth of lateral cornering capabilities. They need to continue to work, and they're working with their tire company, trying to get new shoes on this thing. They want to make sure that they can take advantage of all those improvements that they've made, but they got to make sure that the shoes are putting the power to the ground.
Serious stuff with Team Olive Garden. Luigi Urbanelli, an ex-Ferrari Formula One engineer, and a great addition to the Olive Garden team. Down into turn 1, Schiatarella.
This whole team is so delighted. Mimo, I met a few years ago, and he's running Toyota Atlanta cars, and great guy.
Martin.
Olivier Beretta just out of the car. David Salins getting in. Bill Adam, you remember I told you at lunchtime how much time these guys spent practicing their pit change, because the car has been set up, the seat has been cut away for Gunnar Jeanette, who has driven it up until this race weekend, who has got much, much longer legs to fit in. And that means these two guys have got a real issue with getting their seats crammed into the car. However, they have managed to speed it up enough so that they've got time to do the driver without holding the stop up, hopefully.
Well, and that is a critical move. If we think back all the way to Sebring, the champion mistake that lost the race for them certainly was when the insert for Manuel Hiro didn't get put in properly, and he suffered a back spasm eventually as time went on during his stint. he had to come in 12 laps early, and that created 1 extra pit stop. So getting that seat insert is crucial.
The 43 car, Mark Lieb.
Uh-oh. Now, did he hit the wall? No, he's just coming in.
Weekend
coming into
Mark.
pit.
Guys, this race is the question of how far the GT cars can now go. We expect them to go an hour and a quarter, maybe an hour and a half on a full tank. But remember, early in the race, the Risi Ferrari came in under the first yellow, and I said to Beaky Sims, the team manager, why did you do that? He said, it's a free stop. They need about a 6 or 7 lap yellow before the end of the race to avoid having to stop again. They're that close to not having to stop in the next hour before the end of the race.
Wow.
And Bill, you can expand on that. How much of a difference a 2 hour 45 minute race versus a 3 hour race like today, how much more is that causing these teams to think, to re-strategize? How much extra work is it?
Well, for the 900 cars, it really doesn't make any difference because most of them, like the Audis, the Panos, they'll go about 60 minutes on a tank of fuel. So there effectively is no difference. But for the GT cars, if you get a few yellow laps, then you could conceivably do a one-stop race by luck.
Martin.
Well, it sounds like they had a slow puncture on the 43 car, and the balance is between coming in fast and potentially having the tyre explode and rip the car apart, or coming slowly but safely. And Mark Lieb, well, he obviously likes slowly but safely, and it seems to have paid off. No damage done to the car, and they are now obviously fueled, clean tyres, ready for the rest of the race.
We often see Leo Hendry in this car, along with Peter Barron, and Leo not racing this weekend. Mark Lieb will do several events in the American Le Mans Series this weekend, this year. A great addition to this team.
I'm looking at our timing and scoring right now. Oh, one of the Ferraris running by there. And looks like that lead has stabilized. Biela holding still about a 40-second lead over JJ Leto up front.
Ralph Kelleners in the Risi Competizione Calpont Ferrari, second in class. And what a huge boost it would be for these guys to be on the podium in class.
They have a problem. Sorry guys, they have a problem though. I've just been checking and I said, how's the brakes? Because this has been an issue for over an hour with the car, and he said, not good. They're starting to make a grinding noise. Oh dear, oh dear. He's really nursing it as much as he can.
Hey Martin, while the brakes might be an issue, it's pretty refreshing to see that the gearbox isn't giving him any issues.
Well, this is the only Ferrari that actually has a pucker racing gearbox. The other two 3C60 Modelos in the field actually have basically the standard road paddle shift Ferrari gearbox. This has got a Hewland gearbox, a proper dog cut racing box, and they have a stick shift as well. Now it means that it's stronger, and that hopefully should keep them going all the way through to the end of the race. But it's not going, it's stopping that's going to be the bugbear on that car.
3 Ferraris together, 2 550s, 1 360. And here is third place in GT, and a great run for the J3 team.
This has been a good day. I mean, partly because of attrition, but you have to keep yourself in contention, and they are running very strongly right now. Not a problem so far.
Justin Jackson, Dave Murray. And in endurance sports car racing, half the battle is simply staying out of trouble. Keeping a good, consistent lap pace.
Dave Murray is one of the better Porsche runners in the United States, and he's a past champion in various classes, running in fact, a few years back, running one of the turbo Porsches for Roar Racing.
And the 43 is back in. Problems continue for Orbit Racing. They have dropped to 5th in class. They are ahead of Andy Lally in the Hazardous Sports Porsche, behind Terry Borchella in the Asemco Ferrari, who now runs 4th in GT.
That's a good run for Terry Borchella and Shane Lewis. They've had a really good run of that.
So the J3 boys continue to go from strength to strength. We are inside our last hour. Stay with us to the final time. The view from the Porsche Skycam. Welcome back to Trois-Rivieres for round 4 of the American Le Mans Series. Lee Diffie with Bill Adam. Down on the ground, Calvin Fish taking care of the prototypes. Martin Haven with GTs. and Brian Till with GTS. You're looking at race leader Frank Bieler. Meanwhile, the 56 out on track, Jeff Bucknam, not long ago took over from Brian Willman. 3 drivers in this car, and Jeff has come to a stop down at the outside of turn 1. That's been a pretty eventful place today.
It has it. That almost was the answer to the champion ADT team's prayers, because they desperately need a yellow flag to close up on the back of Biela. Remember, their pit stops will both be coming up soon. Champion did not change tires. They were on board with that car right there. The first pit stop, they did not change tires. So when JJ gets out, Johnny Herbert gets in, they have got to go to a new set of tires to get some better grip.
Terry Borchellis again says go on 5.
Well, JJ Leto has about 4 minutes before he has to pit. There's a driver maximum rule in terms of how much distance they can run, and it's 2 hours 15 minutes here, and they're rapidly approaching that. The champion team are praying for a yellow now within the next 2 or 3 laps. Otherwise, they have to bring JJ in. Remember, at Sebring, I think that may have cost them the victory there, where they ran afoul of the rules a little bit, had to come in and get another driver in the car. They don't want to do that here, certainly. They're right on top of it, but they need a yellow.
Well, Sebring actually was the problem with Pirro having a back spasm, where he did have to come in early. They actually wanted him to do another 12 or 14 laps. But you're exactly right. I mean, they need a yellow here.
Leto whips by. Oh, he does not.
Now, that was strange. What was that all about?
Just about to say that he...
That was almost as if the car hiccuped because of a low fuel situation.
Now you go on board the Olive Garden Ferrari, and Leto scoots away.
That was very, very strange. I'm a little concerned about that one. He's pulling strong up. Perhaps what he did was to hit the reserve switch, but he may come in this lap, Calvin, if you're still down there listening.
56 for Jeff Bucknam is still not running. They are trying desperately to get him going again. The scrap in GTS is still going on between the teammates. Not only have they got the edge over the Ferrari, but they're fighting it out themselves. Frustration continues for Jeff Bucknam in his Dark Dog Pill Beam. We ride again with JJ Leto.
And he's going by the pits again, so they're hoping, they're praying that Dark Dog car brings out the yellow flag. Which, it's questionable. That still is in a dangerous area. Maybe they should, I don't know.
And you can see just how fast it was. This is where we were just 1 minute ago, passing that Olive Garden Ferrari, and Bucknam is still stationary.
And JJ is looking at that car right now as he's coming down at turn 1. So he might have radioed the champion pit and said, guys, there is a car down there. We may get a pace car. You know, it looks like it's a fairly safe position, but keep in mind, if somebody locks up the brakes and slides straight through turn 1, it would be a head-on impact with that other stopped race car. So that's what they have to be concerned about.
There is the race leader. In fact, that is JJ Leto. The view from our Porsche Skycam, and it is JJ. How much longer will he stay out? Well, as you heard from Calvin, that he must come in soon. Cal?
Yeah, there is a watch down here in their pit lane that says 2 minutes, 20 seconds. That's how much they got to play with, so they're rolling the dice here. They're praying for a yellow, but if they don't get one, I think it's game over.
Well, JJ just made a little bit of an error right there. He slid wide on one of the very fast left-handers. You can see he continues to try really hard, but these tires must be just about garbage at this point.
And he stays out yet again. It's 1 minute a lap, and Bucknam is still there, but we still don't see a yellow. They are trying to start that car, and JJ Leto is fighting the clock.
Boy, oh boy, this is so close. If once again...
There's 2 cars off there. That's Kevin Buckler's car is still there.
Well, you know what? I think they're just pushing him to the same place that they pushed the Buckler car. And that means they will not bring a pace car out.
And they deem that that's a safe position.
Correct.
So JJ must come in this time round. Otherwise, he will exceed the maximum time allowed in the car for one driver during this race.
Now, this doesn't necessarily spell doom for champion. They were hoping that the pace could come out to close up the gap between them and the USCR, but still, if a pace car does go out, as JJ heads for the pits right now.
The day is done for Jeff Bucknam. All 3 drivers did get to compete in the car, but the day is done. Leto is in. There will be a driver change. Cal.
JJ pops the belts, he leaps out. You can see Johnny Herbert there has the seat insert. JJ a lot taller than Johnny, of course, and fuel is going in, so they rolled the dice. But just like last year, they got a little unlucky when Johnny Herbert actually missed his pitting call, and they ended up with a podium finish, but they were in contention for the win. So once again, the champion boys are not having luck their side. They had the victory at Road Atlanta. This looks like a routine stop. It's not the co-driver assisting Johnny Herbert with the belts, but one of the other crew members. They're allowed to substitute a crew member for the driver when they do this. The remainder of the crew goes to work. Fueling is done. They got 2 of the tires changed, and they now go to the rears, waiting on the driver.
The 88 car has come to a stop. Thomas Enger back in that car, and it is stopped at pit out. An eventful day after starting from the pole for the first time. The ProDrive Ferrari has had its problems. There, the 38, the ADT champion Audi is away. You see there the car stationary. That is still the 43 Orbit Porsche. Their problems continue, and there is the stranded ProDrive Ferrari.
Boy, how frustrating for them. They thought this was going to be such a good race. Well, Johnny Herbert now behind the wheel. He loves being in this position, but he'd love it even more if a yellow flag come out.
There is race leader Frank Bieler.
Oh, it's so close to him, too. That's almost lapping him again.
And look at JJ. That's what you look like after 2 hours and 13 minutes in a prototype in the American Le Mans Series. He has worked hard. Johnny Herbert slots into the 38 machine. 3 times a Formula One Grand Prix winner. Now, right involved in the sports car fraternity. You're watching the American Le Mans Series right here on Speed Channel, and a big change coming up on Speed, moving from Friday to 4 nights a week, Dave Despain and Wind Tunnel. And that will be 9 as opposed to the 11 o'clock time slot on a Friday night. It's now 9 p.m. Eastern, live Monday through Thursday. Give Dave a call. 3-hour race here today for round 4, and we are well and truly into the final hour. Let's bring you up to date with what happened in the second hour. Butch Leitzinger in the 16, the car came to a stop. Day done. Both Dyson cars out. That brought out the second yellow. There was a mad flurry in the pits, that's for sure. And the 2 Corvettes, they were going at it hard there. The teams go very hard at it at the pit stops, and they're still going hard at it out on the track. Marco Werner did a wonderful job out in front. They pitted during caution. Frank Bieler took over from his countryman and has led ever since. Sadly for Kevin Buckler in the Racers Group Porsche, he dropped out after taking over from Kurt Wagner. Jörg Bergmeister had a spin. Guys did very well there to miss him, and the problems continued for the 24 Alex Job racing car. There was contact between Frank Bieler and the 37 car for Intersport Racing of Duncan Dayton. Car okay, they continued on. The Corvette scrap has been wonderful. The 3 and 4 cars going hard at it. Kelly Collins got past Johnny O'Connell, and then Johnny returned the favour. And Clint Field, whilst following, the sister car went round on the exit of turn 8. And most recently, JJ Leto, after going for nearly 2.25 hours, handed over to former F1 star Johnny Herbert, and JJ worked overtime. It's a very warm day here in Quebec, and these boys look at JJ cooling off in front of the fan. Let's hear from him now.
Well, JJ's had a chance to rehydrate here. He's getting a little rub down. JJ, that was a hard afternoon's work for you, and the yellow flag really seems to have killed your hopes of victory once again.
Yeah, it just destroyed the whole thing, you know. It's always us, you know. Whatever happens, you know, it's always against us. You know, we just gave in 2 laps too early, and we should have stayed out. But, you know, you never know about these yellow flags, and I just stayed in a car. We didn't change the tires because it was green, and you know, it was just, we were so much down. I tried to do 2 stints with the same tires, and the tires were going down so badly in the end. I was just sliding all over the place, you know, and I tried to keep the pace, but It was difficult.
Okay, well, he gave it his all. It wasn't quite enough. They need a big break now. We expect Joost in shortly.
They are in and they are gone, Cal. Frank Bieler has come in for a very quick stop, and now he will go all the way to the end, getting close.
Yeah, and that's about as close as the nail in the coffin right now, because Frank is going to have a full lap and a half lead. So even if a yellow flag comes out at this point, that does not help the champion ADT car.
You saw one of the JML Panos machines fly on by, and it's looking to be a great day for Olivier Beretta and David Salins. They're heading for their first podium of the year.
This is one of the... I'm sorry, Lee.
I was just going to say, updating you on the GT situation for 43 for Orbit Racing. Their day is done. Does Martin, do you have more on that?
Well, they're not giving it up yet. They're changing the left rear drive shaft. The car came in. They thought it was a puncture, did another lap. They said no, the tyres were fine. It was a drive shaft working its way loose. They hit a wall in practice yesterday, and now they're having the kind of bump problems that everybody else has been having, breaking transmissions. But they are fixing it. It will finish the race.
Well, let's hope so. Great team of guys, terrific drivers. And let's hope they can get to the finish as some rewards to the crew who have worked so hard. We are not done with yet. We're racing to the finish. See you in a moment. Back live at Trois-Rivieres, Quebec, Canada, round 4 of the American Le Mans Series. You ride with the number 3, the class-leading car in
Johnny,
GTS.
pit this lap, pit this lap. Do everything down. Okay, come in, pitting.
Live communication there between Johnny O'Connell and the Corvette crew.
Pit lane. Stop on the headlight, fans on, ignition off, ignition back on, both fuel pumps on, headlights off.
Not taking any chances on the driver perhaps forgetting something.
Cal.
Brian's down here, the 3 cars in. Fellows getting back in. You talk about all the things the driver has to remember to do. You heard Steve Cole, the engineer and the crew chief on this car, telling Johnny O'Connell all the switches to turn off and back on, getting ready for Ron Fellows so he can make this final run in the number 3 Corvette.
Reset your fuel, Ron, reset your fuel.
Look at how calm Ron is. No rush, just casually put the wheel on.
He's in Canada, he's at home.
Yes, he is. He's at home when he's in a race.
Fire it up, come on. Back him up, back him up, back him up.
So he can't make it around the other car.
Go, go, go. All right, watch your pit speed. Need to turn the reserve pump off. The main pump should be on.
Not like the Hertz Rent-A-Car. You stick the key and you turn it and go. And these things, you got pumps and switches and fans and putting the steering wheel back on.
Fellows second stint in the car, Brian.
Now the number 4 Corvette is in. Gavin will get in, Kelly Collins will get out. It'll be the exact same stop. They only hope it'll be quicker. Don't forget, Ron Fellows had those problems getting out because of the 24 car in front of him. If they can get out a little bit cleaner, if Oliver Gavin can get out, he has no obstructions in the way, they'll do the stop. He could gain time. We said all along, this race could be won or lost in the pits.
Well, when you say that they're hoping for it to be quicker, they most certainly are. When they came in, or just before they came in, there was some 18 seconds between the two. It was a lot closer than that before. The reason why it blew out to 18 seconds is this.
Well, one of these things, this area here that appears to be getting so slippery, and look at the Corvette sliding wide and coming to a safe stop. Again, that paved area saving the car.
So plenty of action for the Corvette team. And now that latest round of stops is complete for those guys. Back out on track, the Intersport car 37 back in. Calvin is there.
Well, a routine stop, Lee Diffie, and as John Field jumping back in behind the wheel, his second stint of the day, but right now it will not fire up. This is the class leader with a healthy lead over the competition, but right now John Field is hitting the button, and now it fires up finally, so a relief. They've had a lot of problems with these Lola MGs with what they call the starter nadir. As the alternator and the starter motor rolled into one, they overheat and sometimes they don't refire.
Now, is that made by Lucas, Calvin?
I believe so, mate. As James Weaver said yesterday, I drive a German car at home. I like it to start up in the morning.
Well, speaking of 675, and Calvin mentioned that these guys have a healthy lead. Second in 675 is the 18 car of Jason Workman, Melanie Patterson. Martin, update us on the Panos situation.
Similar starting problem for different reasons, though. Scott Maxwell took about a minute to get the number 11 Panos fired. That big hot V8 there cooking the starter motor, but he's finally got it underway and he's back out on the track.
And I can see just behind the Panos, the 43 Orbit Porsche is back out on track. Good stuff for that. We'll update you on the class positions when we come back. Welcome back to Trois-Rivieres. We're around 100 miles northeast of Montreal, and we're southwest, of Quebec City, a lovely place in North America. We get back to it. Race leader, Frank Biela, comfortable. And as we were talking earlier, there's a very, very healthy margin between this car and the second car of Johnny Herbert. While we're away, the 23 car, the GT class leading car, Lucas Lewis, Sasha Masson, that car pitted. Calvin Fish has more.
Well, Lucas just jumped out. A great performance, Lucas. You're in the lead, but the bigger story is your teammates hit problems today. That's big for the championship.
Yeah, I mean, I feel really sorry for them. But in the beginning, Sasha and Timo, they had a really close fight. And Sasha was in the front, and Timo said he couldn't see the wall here in turn 10, so while turning in, he hit the wall. And if you go a little bit over the limit, things can like this can happen.
Things good on your car today? Any issues at all?
I just had a puncture now because of my mistake. You know, a small prototype went in front of me, hit the brakes, and I had to brake so hard so that I did flat spot it. And we came in about 4 laps early, but other than that, everything is perfect.
Okay, great job. Looking to try and take the Joe Carter victory once again, guys.
The 23 machine, Sasha Masson back on board. 2 of the 3 races this year they have won. It's about to be 3-4.
What amazing. I mean, they are just so good. And I keep going back to the fact that they are friends. All 4 of these guys are friends. When they finish racing, they go and play together. It's the best thing for a team manager like Alex Job.
From GT to GTS, and look at this. This is a thrilling battle between the 2 yellow machines, the Corvettes, the factory Corvettes, between Oliver Gavin, Ron Fellows, and as Brian Till mentioned before, that pit stop was crucial, and it needed to be quick, and it was, because Ollie Gavin has got ahead of Ron Fellows. The 4 car is leading the 3, and if you don't think the rivalry in this camp is big, listen to this radio communication. These 2 teams race each other as hard as anybody else out on the track. While we're away, they were talking to Ron Fellows. Let's have a listen to this.
There's about 28 minutes left. Remember your brakes, okay? You can already see he's using more rear tire than you are. Nice and smooth, and we'll see what happens here at the end.
Yeah, the car ahead is yellow. Yes, it's your team Corvette, but go ahead and beat him, man.
That's what it's all about. And that's what Doug Feehan wants.
I like it. I mean, yeah, that spurs the guys on, because if you know that you're the crew and the car that is deemed to finish second place, you don't have the same enthusiasm. This is straight heads-up racing. That gets you inspired.
Guys, one of the reasons the Corvettes are out there battling each other is because the problems for ProDrive continues. On the last stop, Thomas Inga got back in the 88 car, the car that he had done such a great job with putting on the pole. Several laps into his stint, we saw smoke from the exhaust pipe, and that car expired with an engine problem. The 80 car of Magnussen and Brabham, Magnussen brought it in, gave it over to Brabham. He went out. They did not get the left rear tire on completely, had to bring it back in, and it actually damaged the brake rotor. They had to replace the brake rotor and the left rear tire. Costly mistakes for them, and they were bitten by the yellow flag early in the race. The Corvettes, they're on their own.
Boy, the Corvette guys will all be saying, now, why couldn't they have had these problems at Le Mans? Because they were picture perfect.
But two different things, isn't it, though? Like, and as far as the lifespan of that car and the development of the 550 Maranello, Le Mans is one thing.
Yeah.
The American Le Mans Series is a totally different beast.
Yes, it is. I think the tracks we have over...
Audi right behind you.
Yeah, there, just another bit of advice for Ron Fellows. The tracks over here are more difficult because we don't have the glassy, smooth circuits they do in Europe. Tracks here are bumpy, in some cases the street circuits like this. There's a lot of different things. You get pavement changes, manhole covers, a lot of things. So sometimes the European cars are confronted with challenges they've never seen before.
Those Ferraris have dropped. Brabham is in 15th and Thomas Enger 19th overall. And guess who's on the podium in class?
Amazing.
It's the Olive Garden car in GTS.
Isn't that something?
When we return, we'll tell you some about GT, but this is how it sits in GTS at the moment. A quick break, stay with us. We've got about 23 minutes to go. We continue here at Trois-Rivieres. Next race on Speed Channel in the American Le Mans Series will be from Road America, the Road America 500. And you can join us once again here on Speed Live, August 24, 2 p.m. Eastern. Hope you can be with us. At the top of the show, Bill Adam talked you through the Porsche keys to the race. How do you see it now, Bill?
Well, it certainly played out for the LM900 class because you saw the pit stop for champion basically sealed their fate. It looked like it was going to work well for them. The yellow did not come out while they were in the pits, so that killed them right there. The turbo lag really didn't have too much of an effect, as unfortunately both the Dyson cars really had major problems. GTS, Michelin versus Goodyear. Goodyear is going to win again because Corvette are dominating right now. The Ferraris have run into problems. While they were running, it was pretty equal. And in GT, I hate to jinx them, but they are leading. Alex Job once again.
A full lap lead to this car. Frank Biela and Marco Werner heading towards their third victory from 4 races in season 2003. And that, I should say, is the 900 victory because, of course, last week, to remind you again, they did not win overall. Butch Leitzinger and James Weaver took victory at Infineon Raceway. There is the Calpont Ferrari for Ralph Kelleners and Anthony Lazzaro. They run second in GT, and that's an outstanding effort for that team and that car. Awesome stuff for those guys. For Frank Biela, one of the most incredible touring car drivers there's been. He's a handy sports car driver. We find out now what his influences were.
Ayrton Senna definitely was somebody you were looking up to, there's no doubt. I think he was probably the best Formula One driver ever. And as a young driver, you are always looking up to these Formula One stars, of course. And in the end, not everybody can do it, but I'm very happy with what I did in the last 10, 12 years with Audi.
It's fascinating when you hear someone of his stature, 3 times a Le Mans winner, a British touring car champion, a French touring car champion, German touring car champion. When he talks about his influences and his inspirations, well, there's no doubt that he's done that for somebody else or many people.
Oh, without question. What a wonderful record. I remember watching Frank when he was running the Audi touring cars over in Europe. And he was just about unbeatable. Oh, he was so good in those cars.
Scooting away to yet another victory. And the countdown clock, top left of your screen, 18.5 minutes remaining here on the historic streets of Trois-Rivieres. What a circuit this has been, and we're building history here today, folks. It's the second year for the American Le Mans Series, a circuit rich in history for Toyota Atlantic. Earlier this weekend, if you missed it, one of the great local stars, Claude Bourbonnais, yesterday he raced in the Trans Am Series for the BF Goodrich Tyres Cup. Unfortunately, he ran out of tyres and wasn't in the battle late in the race, but boy, the crowd loves seeing Claude back in racing. It had been such a long time away for him.
Claude was a great driver in the Toyota Atlantic cars some years back, running with Jacques Villeneuve. In fact, we talk about Toyota Atlantic stars, and our 2 guys, Brian Till, Calvin Fish, they were heroes of mine. When I was a boy, I used to come here and watch them race, and it was always nice.
Hey, Bill, I'm not buying you dinner tonight, mate, so you can quit, okay?
It's not going to work, Bill.
We've listened to and thoroughly enjoyed some pretty interesting radio communications from the pit to the Corvette guys. And we have some more of that. Let's listen.
Okay, GM says it's okay to race as long as it's clean.
Don't hit them, beat them. I love that. Good for them. Hats off.
And Ollie is racing, and at the moment, Gavin has a 3.2 second lead. So Ron Fellows needs to step it up. And he needs to do it fairly quickly. 16 3/4 minutes to go. Well, we were talking earlier, Bill Adam mentioned about Brian Till racing here. Brian won the 1990 Toyota Atlantics race here. And let's reflect on what he looked like back in 1995.
Look at that hair. Brian, you devil.
Looks like an angry young racer to me.
I'm coming to get you guys in the truck right now for that one.
You're the kind of guy that would break a computer. I just know.
Back to it. Martin has more.
Yeah, third place GT car is in, and this has been a really strong run for Justin Jackson and David Murray. David, we know from the American Le Mans Series of old, it's Justin's first full year in the team that he took over when his dad retired. J3 Racing, they've got a shell built in England, they've got Michelin tyres and a really strong and they're on their way back out onto the racetrack.
This will give this team such a boost.
Yes, it does.
Tremendous stuff. The GT class has been pretty interesting today. Unpredictable for Alex Job, the second Alex Job car, having a lot of problems for Timo Bernhard and Jörg Bergmeister. But for J3 Racing, Justin Jackson, Dave Murray, it's been a day they'll remember for sure. We need to get to a quick commercial break from Trois-Rivieres. And as you can see, we have just 15 minutes remaining. Don't miss it, we're racing to the checkered flag. You're back live with us here on Speed. We're racing to the checkered flag. Round 4 of the American Le Mans Series, and look at this. Johnny Herbert has been chipping away at that margin between he and Frank Wheeler. Now this, when we say it's not for position, Johnny Herbert is trying to get his lap back.
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy, is he racing harder than he has ever raced.
Yeah, and how many times have we seen, just in the last few laps of a race, a yellow does come out, or a pace car, because you get tired. A lot of drivers tend to think, well, 10 minutes to go, 15 minutes to go, my crew just talked to me. You relax your concentration, and that's when something happens. So I do think Johnny has to get by here.
Johnny's been involved in some amazing things in his life, getting the win for Stewart in Formula One. He raced for Jaguar when it became Jaguar, which was such a big deal. Raced Formula One for 12 years, was involved in Dave Mirage and Champions Audi, first ever win in the American Le Mans Series. He seems to be involved in a lot of things at the finish, especially last week.
Yeah, I mean, that last week or at Finian Raceway, it was kind of interesting where Johnny slowed to wave at the crew and subsequently was rear-ended by Bill Oberlin, who I guess hadn't slowed to wave at his crew.
Comparison there between Herbert and Bill the past 3 laps. The average lap speed, and look at this, Johnny's right with Frank now. Head-to-head battle, Audi R8 versus Audi R8, Yost versus Champion, and Herbert needs to get by, get back his lap, and then pray for a caution.
Yeah, and I would expect that any place Johnny tries to make a pass on Frank, he is going to make the pass up the inside. He will not want to risk getting run wide by the Yost car. Now, oh boy, now go on it, Johnny, right there. That's a perfect opportunity. This just spurs you on. When you're a driver at this point, you've caught the guy that you've been chasing. It just gets your heart going.
And that's one of the skills that the drivers in the American Le Mans Series learn as opposed to single-class racing. when there's multi-class racing like the 4 classes in the American Le Mans Series, they learn how to use the slower traffic to their advantage.
Oh yeah, it's very much like a pick or a blocking back. You want somebody there, and you have to try and set it up at the right time. It's a tremendous skill. I think J.J. Leto, back at that Road Atlanta race, that was as fine a piece of driving through traffic as I've seen in years. He was brilliant that day.
Vila is not going to roll over easy here, that's for sure. This is the fight up front. And again, it wouldn't be a pass for the lead. It's Herbert taking back his lap. He is a lap down. The Panos team, the JML Panos team, David Salins is 3rd overall, 3rd in 900, and it would be Panos' first podium of the year. Wonderful stuff for those guys.
Yeah, and I think if I'm Reinhold Joost at this point, I'm going to tell Vila, pull over on the straight, let him go by. Don't risk getting touched in a corner, because then even if a yellow flag comes out, Johnny's still at the end of the whole field.
675 leader is still John Field. Duncan Dayton, that combination. The Patterson Workman car and Bucknam, McMurray and Willman run 3rd overall, although they have stopped. So still some championship points for those. But the big story at 675 today, if you've just joined us and joined us late, folks, it's been a pretty thrilling day here in Trois-Rivieres. Both Dyson cars, after their enormous success last weekend at Infineon, are out. They went out very early. No points for those guys, no big points for those guys. And sadly, for Chris Dyson, who led the 675 championship coming into today's race, now John Field and Duncan Dayton, who won at Road Atlanta, looking at victory in 675 again. GTS, the battle at the beginning of the race, Bill, was fascinating between Ferrari Corvette. From about the midway stage on, it's been all Corvette.
Yeah, the finest battle of the season for GTS was earlier today, because just the 2 cars were so equally matched. I mean, all 4 cars, the 2 teams were so equally matched. But it really has come down to Ollie Gavin in the late stages. He's pulled out a 3.8 second lead over Ronnie Fellows, and Ron's on one of his home tracks, so Oliver must be wailing this car around.
And again, the get well Gary Young, get well now Gary Young. Message there is for Gary, who broke his for one of the crew members. They want him back quickly. First podium in GTS within 8.5 minutes, if they can stay out there for that long. Emmanuel Naspetti and Mimo Schiattarella for Gabriele Raffinelli, the Olive Garden Ferrari. What a boost that will be for them. And let's hear from the team principal. He's with Brian.
Gabriele Raffinelli, you guys made the podium last year. You got 8 minutes to go, and you'll have your first podium of this year. It's got to feel great, especially with all the work that's gone into this car.
Yes, it is. For us, the only car, the Ferrari, is not so slow after all. We have been working very hard. We have not been thinking about the pace, but we have been thinking about reliable to come to the end. We knew it was going to pay.
Well, I sat here and watched these guys all day long. They've been patient. They've done a lot of work, and it's like he said, they know how hard it is to get around Three Rivers. They took their time. They're going to end up on the podium, it looks like, Lee.
We've shown you the first 3 classes. Now we show you GT. And as we look at one of the Pro Drive Ferraris, we update you graphically there. Masson leads the way. And here he comes, the 23 car. Incidentally, the 24 car has been taken back behind the wall, back to the paddock. The day is done for those guys. The 23 car, Sasha Masson, Lucas Lua, the guys who shared the GT Championship last year for the first time ever, a little bit of history there. They lead the way. And you have not missed a thing here. These guys are still stuck together. Well, Herbert versus Biela.
Yeah, Johnny's trying to make that ADT champion car about as visible as possible on the tail of the silver Yost car. He's trying to go inside any place he can. I mean, ideally, he's got a much better shot of making Biela make a mistake at this point. As remote as that sounds, that's what he really wants to try and do, is make Frank look in the mirror at the wrong point, perhaps get in a little too deep at the end of the straight. Some tiny mistake.
Coming past the Panos, the inline racing Porsche up ahead, Scott Bader and Oswaldo Negri. Those guys have done a good job today as well.
Nice job there by Biela. I thought he was going to get blocked by the Porsche, but he got on the throttle perfectly.
Well, Bill, you've driven the R8. I know you've done some testing and stuff in it. How aero sensitive is it? If he gets up underneath the back end of that #1 car, will he lose the aero on the front end?
Yeah, it's a good point, Brian. I mean, actually, the car does lose a lot of air, but only on very high-speed corners. Around here, I don't think it'll have much effect at all, so I expect Johnny will try and stick it up as close as he can.
Look at Herbert working overtime. He has an inside run, but that sets him up to the outside of turn 2. The wrong side there.
Now he's really going to roll his mirror down here.
Inside, Johnny's got him. He gets his lap back.
Unbelievable. Good pass down by the Duplessis Arch. He took it. He is leading up the back straight. They're on the same lap now.
So if a yellow were to come out now with 5 minutes 45 to come, champion may be back in this for the overall win. It's a long, long shot.
Oh, it would be a huge shot, but at least the crew have got something to cheer about, because I guarantee they were watching monitors and they saw Johnny do that.
No response from Frank Bieler, and understandably, he does not need to respond immediately. That was just to get his lap back, but good forceful driving from Johnny Herbert.
Johnny just took more of a late apex in there, and I think at that point, yeah, you look at the little wave of thanks. That's class. Frank actually pulled off the throttle to let him go by. He knew that he was alongside. Johnny acknowledged it. A little wave of his hand up going, thanks very much. There he is, flying into a corner at 80 miles an hour, the car sliding, and he lets his hand off the wheel.
I had a great chat with Johnny on Friday earlier this weekend, and I said, the Johnny Herbert post-Formula One. I said, is this good stuff? I mean, you're with the Bentley program, you're now a champion. I said, are you enjoying yourself? I mean, when he was teammate to Jaguar with Eddie Irvine, hardly hear anything about Irvine these days, but Johnny's still in the spotlight. He said, are you kidding? He said, this is great. He said, in my early days, when I was doing sports car, even when I won Le Mans, I didn't really enjoy sports car racing. He said, it's a real family feel. He said, it's great. We're all mates. It's good racing. Look at JJ. That's what 2.25 hours racing does to you.
They're a great bunch.
So it was pleasing to hear that he is enjoying himself. He's not just doing it to, try and keep his name out there. He said, I am genuinely enjoying this.
No, the one thing I like, too, is that he gives a great deal of time back to the American Le Mans Series on doing special events and appearances and that. That shows a lot. He is not the prima donna Formula One that you picture. He's very much into the sport and having a real good time, as you say.
Time running out here at Trois-Rivieres. Just 4 minutes remaining in this 3-hour race. The fourth round of the championship. We had the president and CEO of the American Le Mans Series in here earlier, Scott Atherton. It was a slow start. We saw those 2 rounds go away from Washington, D.C. and Mexico for various reasons. But now we're into the full swing of this season. We've had some great racing, and today looks like it will go to the Infineon EOS team for the 900 class and the overall win for 675. What a story for John Field, smashing the car to smithereens last weekend. They were in doubt whether they were even going to make it here to Trois-Rivieres. Well, they've made it, and they've made it all the way to the top step of the podium for 675, and they're currently running 10th overall. For GTS, it's been a thrilling Corvette battle, and Ollie Gavin now has 4.1 seconds over Ron Fellows. He is heading for a win, and that would make it 2 apiece as far as victories in GTS for the Corvette guys.
Can you imagine the battles coming up at both Sport and Road America, the high-speed circuits? The Ferrari is going to be tough as nails there.
The Canada swing of the ALMS. You can watch the next race on NBC in the series, and we'll be back here on Speed from Road America. Looking forward to that one. And here is your overall race leader, Frank Bieler, teamed with Marco Werner. Made everyone stand up and take notice yesterday, Marco Werner, with a thrilling qualifying time to grab pole position. He held Johnny Herbert off, put the number 1 Infineon Yost Audi on pole, and they've led the entire way. Brian?
You know, you think about the GTS battle, it's far from over with for the year. Ferrari has shown that they've got the speed. They had some bad luck today with a yellow flag, a couple of niggling mechanical problems, but they can match the pace of the Corvettes. When they get to a track that more suits their style, they may win. Martin?
Well, GT has all been about survival, really. The Alex Job, number 23 McKenna Porsche, has hit nothing, hit nobody, had no mechanical dramas. They have a 16-lap lead in the class, but there's less than half a minute, second to third. The Risi Racing Ferrari, they brought the car in just out of caution. They've been nursing the brakes so long, there's still no fuel warning light. They were worried that the little light had burned out and they might run out before the end, but they look like they will still make it onto the podium.
A couple of other notable mentions in GT. I'm thrilled for the Ferrari guys at Risi to get second, and they will remain there. Just a little over a minute to go. It's just a little over 1 minute for a lap. That means we are fast approaching the final lap, the final 1.5 miles at Trois-Rivieres. Frank Bieler behind John Field at the moment, and the white flag will be displayed right now. Biela is on the way home.
Yeah, just for some of our real sharp viewers, they do not have a 16-lap lead over the second-place Kellender's Ferrari in the GT class. Martin was referring to metric laps, and in North America, he actually has a 3-lap lead.
I wanted to pay tribute to, not tribute, but just give a pat on the back to others in GT. They've done well. Andy Lally and Spencer Pumpelly have done a great job. They're running 16th overall and 5th in class. Scott Bader and Ozzie Negri in the inline car. Wonderful job for those guys. Terry Borchella and Shane Lewis in the Asemco Ferrari. I know Jeff G and Grandy will be thrilled with that.
They sure will.
So there's been some good, hard, tough racing, and let's not forget about the J3 guys in their Porsche. They're running 3rd in GT, so awesome stuff for them as well. But it's been the Yost team today. Frank, the quiet achiever, as he brings it home.
Awesome.
Well, there was a yellow flag that put a big dent in the champion Audi, their run. But today it's Yost, it's Biela, it's Werner. They win at Trois-Rivieres. Yost, 2 wins in a row here at Three Rivers. Last year it was Capello and Christensen. This year, Biela and Werner.
Now he can get the visor up and get a little bit of cool air coming in that helmet. Just savoring the victory right now.
Wonderful stuff, and they take another step closer to their 4th American Le Mans Series title. What about Oliver Gavin? The Corvette battle. He took the fight up. He spun right before, well, actually, Kelly Collins spun right before the final pit stop. Ollie Gavin got back in the car, and poor old Ron Fellows was held up at his pit stop. Gavin gets the win, and Collins.
Great job, great pit stop, well done.
That's Ollie Gavin.
Great pit stop, well done, yes.
Well, Brian Till called it. He said this stop needs to be quick. We knew Ron Fellows got held up from the 24 Alex Joe Porsche that was there. They needed to push him back and send him back out again. It was costly. Gavin gets the win along with his teammate Kelly Collins. Thrilling stuff. Johnny Herbert drove very well to get back on the lead lap. He finishes 55 seconds behind this man, Frank Biela. Still plenty to come on speed. We'll wrap it up and hear from our winners. Speed Channel's coverage of the Grand Prix of Trois-Rivieres is brought to you by Porsche, for the pure sport of driving. A great day here at Three Rivers. Wonderful stuff for the American Le Mans Series, and this is how it sat at the checkered flag. Frank Biela, Marco Werner, their 3rd victory in the 900 class for the year, ahead of Herbert and Lado for Champion Racing. And well done, the JML Panos team. David Salins, Olivier Beretta, that new pairing, they get on the podium for the first time this year. The GTS victors, Gavin and Collins, thrilling stuff for them. They got ahead of their older, more experienced teammates, and Maxwell Jeanette coming in the top 6. Time now to hear from our winner. Here's Calvin.
Well, Frank Biela gets a glass of water here, Frank. What a superb performance. Birthday yesterday, celebrate today with a win, and Marco Werner, a great performance as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's the best present the team could give me and I could give myself. No, I'm really happy because in free practice I did not drive too much, and yesterday I was not too confident because I did only a few laps and it was yellow and red and everything, and so I felt not too good. And after warm-up I felt a bit better, and let's say in the race it was just brilliant. The crew did a brilliant job again.
We saw a bump in traffic there, I believe, with the number 37 machine. Any issues there?
Actually, when I crashed with him, I thought the race was over. You know, the toe was not straight anymore, so the steering wheel was a bit bended. Dive planes were gone, as I could see now, and it was not nice to drive, not easy. It was too much understeer in the end because of the accident. But it's a good thing, it's a good effort, and I'm really happy.
Well, congratulations, Frank, their 3rd class win of the year. Let's go over to Brian Till.
Well, Oliver Gavin, you did a great job. You qualified this thing 2nd, you end up 1st, but after 3 hours on the racetrack, I don't think that's where you won this.
Well, no, this CompuWare Chevrolet Corvette performed fantastically today. The 4-car boys did a brilliant job in the last pit stop, managed to get us out in front of the 3-car. That's really what won us the race. And then I just had to hold Ron off for a good few laps. Ron was pushing very hard, but managed to hold him off and just pull away a little bit towards the end there. But thanks to Goodyear for the tyres, they were great today, and we had those Ferraris beat.
I know on the first stint, it seemed like you had a low pedal. Did you get that sorted out? You learned something the first time you were in the car.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the pedals caught me out the first time. I sat behind Thomas in the Ferrari for a long time, and we just couldn't get any cooling to the front brakes, and they overheated, and the pedal went very long, and we were in some trouble, but managed to slow down, let Ron by, got the pedal back, and then pushed again. But like I say, the boys won it for me in the pits, all the 4-car lads. Fantastic.
Well, and the 4-car was, I think, the winner here last year too.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, Andy and Kelly did a great job here last year. Oh, hi to Andy. I think you might be watching at home. Hope he's well, and wish he was here. We'll be seeing him back at Petit Le Mans. So yeah, it's just a fantastic day for everybody on the 4-car and Pratt & Miller.
I think, guys, we're going to see more of these battles between Corvette and Corvette, and hey, don't forget the Ferraris.
Wonderful stuff from those guys, and that's 2 wins apiece for the Corvette team.
Did you notice that haircut now on Ollie? That is courtesy of his teammate, Kelly Collins.
That's the Kelly style. Recapping the GTS results again, we read through the top 2. Again, wonderful stuff for Team Raffinelli. Naspetti and Schiattarella getting on the podium ahead of the 2 ProDrive Ferraris. Still plenty more to come from Trois-Rivieres. We'll hear from our GT 675 and we'll wrap it all up. Back at Trois-Rivieres, wrapping up round 4 of the American Le Mans Series, and yet another victory. It's the 3rd for them in 2003. Sasha Masson, Lucas Luhr, last year's GT champions in the ALMS, and they're with Martin Haven right now.
Hot but happy, Sasha Masson, another win.
Well, yeah, that was another difficult win. We had a lot of pressure in the beginning from our teammates. When they made a little mistake and hit the wall, it was our job not to hit the wall anymore. And well, we kept it on the road between the walls, and that was a success.
Now, Lucas, everybody has been talking about how hard the racetrack has been. Is it physical or is it a mental difficulty threading it through these walls?
Oh, for me it was absolutely easy, you know. Sasha did the job. I just had to drive around and around without hitting something, so it is a pretty easy racetrack.
Yeah, so anybody can do this stuff, I guess, guys.
You're right.
Nothing like a bit of honesty. Yeah, it was easy. Good stuff. They did a wonderful job. Calvin's with our 675 winners.
Well, they call it the Junkyard Dog, Lee. The Banana Joe's Lola certainly looks pretty today, Duncan Dayton. What a way to rebound from last weekend.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's just great. I mean, the crew has worked tirelessly for the last couple of days on this car, throwing it together. Hugh Chamberlain was nice enough to loan us this car, and the guys worked just incredibly to get it together. We fought it the whole way, but at the end of the day, we're here and we're on the podium, so we're pretty pleased.
Well, congratulations. And John didn't get the car in the country until Thursday night, but talk about the championship with the Dyson cars going out. This is a big hit on them, and you guys look really good now.
First of all, I got to say hi to my daughter and my wife because I miss them at this race. But, I mean, I tell you, Duncan, he got on the phone with me Monday morning and persuaded me, let's get it, let's do it. Come on, we're racing for a championship here. And so we decided to do it. We got it here, and, you know, Dyson had some misfortune this week like we had last week, and I think we gained back everything we lost. It's just a wonderful finish to the weekend. It was a bit sloppy out there, but, you know, we went for points today, and that's what it was all about.
Well, great job, guys. Way to hang in there, and I believe we have the other victory driver from the Corvette winning team with Brian Tell.
Yeah, Kelly Collins, I mean, a great victory for you guys. We talked to Oliver, but right there before that last pit stop, got a little scary.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was coming down there and the Ferrari was moving slow along the wall, and it was one of those, I think I can make it to the apex, and then all of a sudden I'm like, no, I'm not going to make it to the apex. I'm going to meet him at the apex. So anyways, I went wide, got in the marbles, and I was heading for the wall, so I just tapped the brakes and spun it out. But other than that, you know, Oliver did a great job. The CompuWare Chevy Corvette, the whole Pratt & Miller racing team, and I knew all along when I was chasing Johnny there, just don't touch that car, because my boss here, Doug Feehan, I could hear him in the back of my head saying, don't you guys touch. So anyways, it came out good. It was a 1-2 finish for Corvette, and we were like a freight train today. And you know, once again, our main competition is our team car right now, and we gotta run as hard as we can and run against the Ferrari.
Well, let's get with Marco Werner, and the good thing about it, the Corvette guys know what channel to watch, guys.
Here with Marco Werner. Marco, superb run there at the beginning of the race, really set the way for Frank today.
Yeah, everything was okay on this weekend. The qualification was very good for us. The start was good. The first stint was okay. Thank you for the compliment. Everything working well. The team working very good. We have a good setup. We have very good tires from Michelin. That was a good step for the win.
Okay, well, congratulations. Let's get back up to lead, Iffy.
Thanks, Cal, and well done again to Marco Werner and Frank Bieler. We'll have a look quickly at the overall results one more time from round 4 of the American Le Mans Series. Bieler, Werner on top of the tree overall and in 900. You roll down through the grid. The best in GTS, Gavin and Collins, they finished top 4. For the 675 class, they were top 10. That was Field and Duncan. We heard from those guys. And best GT was Sasha Mass and Lucas Liu at 9th. We take you all the way through the field. You can see further back. Good day for Patterson and Workman. They got valuable points in the 675 class. And we go back to the guys who suffered some misfortune. Most notably, Bergmeister, Bernard, the Dyson 675s. What a terrible day for those guys. But they will bounce back, and Kevin Buckler caught Wagner some hardship for them too. But Bill Adam, final thoughts. What do you think?
Well, the one race we didn't talk about was the race that the crews had from Sears Point all the way up here. And some of these guys drove straight through. I think the winning truck was the Panos fellas. They did the 3,000 miles in 51 hours, so a heck of a job by the American Le Mans crews to get all these cars here.
More coming up right here on Speed Channel later tonight. Speed News NASCAR edition, that's from 7 in just 1 hour time. Speed News regular, and of course NASCAR Victory Lane. Plenty more to come here right on Speed Channel. We look forward to our next round here on Speed for the American Le Mans Series. That's coming to you from Road America, the Road America 500, and we will be with you live just like we were today. 2 p.m. on the 24th of August from Road America, the high-speed circuit. And the next round of the ALMS series is in 2 weeks' time at another high-speed track. That's Mosport right here in Canada. That will conclude the Canadian swing. Pretty eventful day right here at Trois-Rivieres. More history was made the second year for the American Le Mans Series, the biggest sports car championship in the world. Very eventful, plenty to talk about. On behalf of the entire team, Brian Till, Martin Haven and Calvin Fish did a wonderful job down there in the pits. Bill Adam up here in the booth. I'm Lee Diffie. Thanks for joining us. It was a thoroughly enjoyable day, and the American Le Mans Series is up and away for 2003.